live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening. He is in the tier list tonight, and welcome back to the World of Football podcast, listening live on YouTube and watching back on Spotify. We got the two lads here tonight. Everyone knows by the title tonight what we are discussing, and one thing we are discussing only. Erik Ten Haag looks like he's on his way out. Absolutely shocking 3-0 against Tottenham at the weekend. Brennan Johnson deleting his social media and just turns into prime Gareth Bale at this rate. Just fantastic. Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, got sent off with one of the weakest red cards I've ever seen in my life. But got to keep some principal studs up equals red card. But aside from that, how are we doing tonight, lads?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Got my emulators kicking back and running, so having a bit of fun with some Pokemon and shit. But hey ho, I mean, it works for a Switch controller, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're into gaming, keep an eye on my channel because I've been doing a lot of that. Work, I'd rather not say. It's a whole, at the moment, a little bit of a clusterfuck. So much change they're going through this week. I'm not happy with, but I'm hoping we'll get some clarification and some improvement, and things can just get back on track because I like my job. And well, we are here to absolutely talk about Ten Haggis and Mash, but we'll see how that goes. He definitely has been clipped from a pig. He's been stuffed, and he was beaten by an Aussie. So I suppose all now for Ten Hag is, will he go down under or will he go down out? But I'm here to find out, and obviously we're joined by Peaky Blinders, so we'll see how that goes.
Hoodia, how you doing, bud?
I've just robbed a bank and got away with it successfully, and I'm straight here. So
Sounds good,
it's
right?
great. It's been it's small consolation for a crap weekend. So you know, I mean, it's not about money; it's about sending a message. And
Yep.
it was a rough Sunday evening. I'll put it like that.
If the message is on the streets, then you're totally selling it strong. Homelessness peak on the World of Football podcast. We are advertising homelessness.
Well, I have been watching enough. Can't Pay Will Take It Away.
It is so good.
Quality program.
Every night it's like 12:30, and I'm like, I need to go to bed, but just one more eviction, please. It does get like that.
We know someone that is actively involved in that sort of stuff. We know that. Maisie, that's her job.
Is it?
Well, she doesn't go around and evict people from her houses, but she is in the housing association, so she pretty much deals with that.
Jesus.
Wild shit like that. Oh yeah, same. But she is ace though. It's been a while since she's been there. Hopefully she'll turn. It'd be good if she turns up for this kind of show, so she calls some carnage.
Oh, absolutely. Considering Anna Reams in this tier list as well, we do need to cause some carnage. But anyway, apart from that, let's get on with it. So, as you can see, I have chucked 42 victims, I should say, into the bottom of this tier list. I would say victims on some of them, and then you've got the likes of, I don't know, this man here, Wayne Rooney, Mr. Plymouth. I had to chuck him in there. What else have we got?
There's some great mentions.
Oh, there is.
There's genuinely some great mentions. There's some absolute howlers, and then there's Gary Neville.
And then there's we've got Gary Neville, Ralph Ragnick's taken a thing. Gary O'Neill somehow made his way on there. Had to put Schmeichel in as well. Mr. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes, in Schmeichel version.
Roger Schmidt, Simeone, Enrique, Thiago Motta. Now, anyone that's watching this, let's just reaffirm. Most of these men are currently in jobs. There are some that's on the free agents list. The reason why they're included is purely because they were actually linked to the United job over the course of 2023, 2024, and will be beyond. So it's not like we're just picking names out of favoritism. Most of these are my pure favorites. But they have all been linked from the job. So if they weren't linked for the job, even if they're favourites of mine, they wouldn't be on this list.
Absolutely.
They all have genuine links.
And of course, that would be also the reason why the likes of Jurgen Klopp, for example, not included. Loads
Yeah,
of other Man
Don
United
Carlo's not in
legends.
this list either.
Van Hal not included.
Yep. Yeah, that is absolutely no anyway.
Nathan, the name I gave you earlier in private, is that on this list?
I believe he is. Yes. Where is he?
Who?
I can't see him.
Who?
Oh yes, he's here.
Conte?
No, the other name.
Oh, Allegri.
No,
that's what?
wait, Mourinho.
Mourinho?
No. The other name.
Oh
Julio-
my God! How did I
Julio,
not
you're
get
not-
this? The main candidate, of course, is
You
here.
might want to turn share screen. Oh, Nathan, man.
Fuck off. No chance. You want United to get relegated?
Yeah, Plymouth. Look,
Completely
EFL Championship
follow that.
next season. Just another league for us to win.
Absolutely not, thank you. Not if you're playing prime Brexit ball.
Prime Brexit ball.
Prime Brexit ball.
Aye, prime Brexit ball. Sam Allardyce with a beard.
You really think I'd go into a job when I'd say, right, Big Sam football, let's go?
Absolutely, I know you.
Evidently not. If you're going with that.
No, I know you. You'll go in, you'll try to fake you're Italian, just say, I know a guy who happens to have that sort of link, and then you'll say, he recommended me for the job. You're welcome. And then after that, you'll go, however, I'm not here to play with suave and tactical masterpiece. I'm here to play a 4-1-4-1. Keep it compact, keep it deep, and we go long. And if your strikers can't hack it, then they'll be at the door.
Wow, that is a very poor assessment of what my philosophy would be. Thank you, Reece.
Your philosophy wouldn't be fun. Sell yourself to me. I am the hiring man right now. Sell yourself to me. Not in that way, thank you very much. But sell yourself to me as a manager.
Reece, that's not
Prove
really
your
a
position.
fair thing to ask me on a stream to sell myself to you.
If
because
you're
if
cheap,
I-
if you're cheap, then
I
it
could
works.
literally walk in with an Allegri mask and that might get me the job.
Not with me. I'd need to be convinced. Even if it's just an Allegri mask, I'd have to be
You've
convinced.
made it clear that you're not convinced by me and you don't know what my philosophy would be. So
It's you.
it's very fair that it's unfortunately that this is going to be a very short interview
That's why I know I would.
because you've
easily
already
get a
got your
managerial
mind
job.
made up here.
That's because I know I would get a managerial job quite easy. I know exactly
Right.
what I would say.
Moving swiftly on from Reece thinking he's cut out for management, can we discuss some actual candidates for this? Because a lot of these candidates I really like, a lot of them excite me, a lot of them won't happen, but are worth the discussion anyway, and a lot of them are just, well,
Some of them absolutely terrorize me.
there to make the numbers.
Absolutely. So for that reason, we have got top tier a point now. Just get him in ASAP. They're better than Ten Hag. Second one down, good choice. They don't light up trees, but safe bet. Then I've gone into there's no in between for me. There's no 50-50s.
It's
No.
just no. Yeah.
Just no. And then we got, well, they're so bad you might as well appoint the Glazers instead. And then you've got the ones who, no matter how much money you chuck at them, same with transfer budgets, whatever, they just
can't be
won't
bought.
sign the
It
contract.
can't be bought, can't be compromised.
Basically can't be compromised, and there's going to be a couple of them, sadly, on this, well, fortunately, on this list as a neutral. And I'm going to have some fun as this on a neutral. And you know what? Let's get it started with Reece, the man who's been proper looking forward to this.
Yeah, let's
get one on the board.
Let's look at our candidates, ladies and gentlemen. So from top order across, we have as follows. We have Unai Emery, Ruud van
Yes.
Nistelrooy, Graham Potter, Ange Postecoglou, Antonio Conte, Hansi Flick, that is Iraola, Ralph Hasenhüttl, Laurent Blanc, David Moyes, Stefan Go Fuck Yourself Pioli, Thiago Motta, Luis Enrique, Wanker, Sergio Koikenchau, Eddie Howe, Goat Nagelsmann. Interesting choice beside him, though. Really? Why?
Why not?
No words. You've got Wayne Rooney, Mourinho, Godnick, Ollie, no thank you. Carrick, you can go to hell. Roger Schmidt, Ruben Amorim. You've got Diego Simeone, Gary fucking Neville, Simeone Inzaghi, Thomas Frank, Roberto Martinez, Zinedine Zidane, Brendan Rodgers, Maximiliano Allegri, Thomas Tuchel, Maurizio Frodok, Kieran McKenna, Wankgate, Xavi, a man that chose to sign a pedo, Gary O'Neill, and Ernesto Valverde, the last good manager Barcelona had until now when they got Hansi Flick.
I think those are some of the best analogies that I have ever seen on this channel.
Sorry, I can't really see.
That
Who's
was
that
special.
between Wazza and Nagelsmann?
Nathan?
I've completely forgot.
Really?
Gone out of my head.
Wow.
I've forgotten already. Oh my god.
If it makes any consolation, I'm pretty sure that manager...
Oh yeah, I know who he is. Isn't he the Nice manager?
Yes, it is.
Was that Farioli?
That's Fariola, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
Fariola,
remember
yeah.
when he was linked to
Forgotten that
championship
already.
jobs,
Oh my
Jesus.
god.
Yeah. A lot of people think differently of him, but that's what he looks like.
Mhm.
He is a good manager, though. I will grant him that.
He
He
is.
is a good manager. Right, so we have, as we've said, we have 42 candidates on the show this evening.
41 victims, let's see.
41 victims, but ultimately it's 36 victims and 5 survivors that are actually worth the conversation. Right, I'm going to go off the bat, and I'm actually going to put somebody who's generally on the list that I do rate as a manager.
Mhm.
I just have a feeling we may not get him. But I love his football. I like the fact that he came in and just mugged the club completely. And also he exposed the inadequacies of financial management because he was kicked out purely because of a ridiculous loss that wasn't even his own fault. His players were crap. The first manager I'm going to go with is Ernesto Valverde.
Mhm.
Now, the reason why I put him in... No, sadly, he's a won't come.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah, he's a won't come. Even though I think we could tempt him, I just think it won't happen. Ernesto Valverde is an experienced manager from Spain. He's managed Athletic Bilbao, he's managed Sevilla, Valencia, Barcelona, where he's got his most success. He's also had other spells elsewhere, but the most common spells for him are Bilbao and Barcelona, where he won 2 league titles. He went 30 league games unbeaten. He then went into the following season, done the same thing. He was sacked, and he was sacked purely because of the Champions League defeat, both to Roma and Liverpool. The 2 defeats were purely on him, but also the players just folded. His first season was tactically split. Obviously, he lost Neymar, so he couldn't play the 4-3-3 that Barcelona were more accustomed to. Instead, he plays a mixed variation of the 4-4-2. He plays the 4-4-2 where it was 2 wingers and Messi and Suarez up front. He used Suarez purely as out 9, and he used Messi in like that Freeman centre forward 10 role, where, to be fair, Barcelona were very good under that system. It really exposed the tactical weakness of Zidane at the time. Zidane didn't know how to realistically approach it. He did eventually in the second season, but to be fair, it was already too late. Valverde was already cruising to league championships. At Bilbao, however, he plays a slightly more different system. He plays the 4-2-3-1, allows the likes of Nico Williams, his brother Inaki as well, room to grow, room to free roam defences, and they just absolutely terrorise people. Then again, emphasised by the victory against Barcelona, where they had 30 shots against Barcelona and 27 were on target, in contrast to Barcelona having 3 shots, 1 on target. They battered them 4-0. It should have been 12. The reason why I think he's a won't come is purely the Spanish factor. I think the fact he's already in Spain, he's enjoying the Spanish life, he's a good manager. I think he would be hard to get. United tried to get him previously on an interim basis, and I think that's why
I
he
remember
won't
that,
come.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
remember
think-
that.
I was going to ask about that.
It disappointed him because he wanted the permanent job. They weren't offering it. They were only offering interim because they didn't know who they would go for. I think if United had him already, United would have already been a lot more astute, a little more compact. Also, United would be playing much better football under Valverde because he's proven it at several clubs. He plays good football and he gets success. So yeah, I would say purely out of a respect factor to Mr. Valverde, he is for me a won't come option.
Interesting. Julio, you're up.
One thing I will like, I do want to point out something about Valverde's. I gave him a lot of stick during his time at Barcelona, but I feel like it was now obviously in hindsight, it was very unfair to him.
Yeah,
There
I
was
agree.
something about him that something wasn't right about it all, but I didn't realize then it was more on the club as opposed to him. You know, I feel, I mean, Yerry Mina was the reason they didn't go invincible in the first full season.
That's right.
And Yerry Mina was literally sold after that to Everton.
Not to mention the sign of Coutinho as well. He wasn't a fan of that. He wasn't even he didn't want that.
It was a club signing, yeah. The club spent a lot of money, and that was the start of the mismanagement of money, yeah, because they sold Neymar. That was the start of let's pay over £100 million for 2 players inside a year, and then they paid £40 million for a 31-year-old Arturo Vidal, you know, £40 million for Paulinho, only to send him back a year later, but the same money, and then all sorts. And when he was sacked, I did think at the time as the right decision, but not in the sense of Barcelona have got rid of a poor manager, but more of I'm glad he's gone for himself, because he was there 2.5 years. And it was just always Valverde this, Valverde that, Valverde this, Valverde
Even if
that.
they played amazing football, and they did. Like, people think they didn't play good football under him. They did. Barcelona fans are just stupidly spoiled.
I was pleasantly surprised, actually, at how good they were. Obviously, bottling the Champions League 2 years in a row the way they did was poor. But
I don't hold it to him. I blame it purely on the players themselves. Like, Valverde had them tactically organised, that they could actually be hard to beat in that way, like Barcelona way of, we know it's not hard to beat because they're playing defensive football. They're just hard to beat because they've got so many players on the field that were strong, physical, fast, but they were so competent with the ball that it's hard to get it off them. Like that, and they've barely done that since. And also as well, when you look at who followed them, like Kike Setien, decent manager at Real Betis. But I'm sorry, but he isn't a Barcelona quality manager to follow Valverde. Even somebody to follow Enrique, for example, who's on this list, rightfully so. Like, the decisions that Barcelona made after that were ridiculous. So I'm glad he got out, and I love the fact that he went and battered them as well, like, to win a trophy. Like, that's what I love about, like, the ultimate karma. So you got rid of me for blaming me for all your problems. Well, I'm just going to beat you then.
Yeah, I mean, he's back at Bilbao and he's doing good there. So, I mean, I'm happy for him.
Same.
My uncle's a huge Barcelona fan, and I remember sending him the articles and the links of Valverde to United. And I don't know how good the sources were at the time. My knowledge of sources and that wasn't great at the time.
Yeah.
But I was saying, like, are you seeing this? This is quite interesting. Anyway, moving on from Valverde, because, you know, we've got
I think won't come as appropriate for him.
I think won't come as appropriate because of your reasoning, but also I just don't see Ineos approaching him. I just don't see it being that kind of, you know, you look at certain managers and you think he's a good manager, but they won't approach him. I think it would be, I think that falls under the won't come a little bit, but then it could be under good appointment as well. But I think this one is more unrealistic than others. I'm gonna go for Nathan. Can you show me the options quickly again, please? I'm gonna.
Actually, I've got the best option.
No, because the best option's on the thumbnail.
Oh my god!
There you are, Hans. Hello.
I'm glad Nathan put that as this week's thumbnail.
All I'm gonna say about that thumbnail is hello, handsome.
Great self-obsession.
Absolutely, I've said it before. I'm an ultimate narcissist. I don't care.
I'm gonna go easy with this one. I'm just gonna get Inzaghi and put a point now.
Why are you stealing? What? Why are you stealing from me?
Because it's a cop out, and do you know what the thing is, right? I'm in a group chat which Reece sadly left, and
for good reason.
there was a link put in of Inzaghi being considered at United, and one of the people in there was complaining about how Ineos should have sacked him in the summer, etc., etc., etc. But what I don't think they realise is Inzaghi wasn't an obvious candidate in June, like
I would
he
say
is
it
now.
was. It's just people
To you,
were.
no, listen. To you, he is, but to a lot of other people, he wasn't. And the
That's
links
'cause
are
I'm far
coming.
ahead.
The links are coming strong,
Yeah.
especially after the Man City game.
Yep.
And I think people are seeing more about what Inzaghi's about now after that. It was one of those games where Inzaghi has a good game, the manager has a good game, and then the watching world is looking at him, and now suddenly his PR, shall we say, is
The
increasing.
stock goes up massively.
Yeah, because people are noticing it. And I was talking, and someone in there makes there's this joke that I'm a football expert in their group chat, which is hilarious. But anyway, I was asked if I was the Italian football expert, and I said no, that's Reece. And there was a discussion to bring Reece back in because the discussion was Inzaghi. And yeah, I in footballing sense, we've already discussed this. I don't need to discuss it anymore. We literally tactically discussed this last week. I really like Inzaghi.
I mean, technically, I
Okay.
discussed it last week. Come on.
Okay, yeah, you
You
discussed
can
it.
have
I was
Inzaghi as a
there.
mention, but at least be honest. If it's me.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a fair point. You discussed it. We were just there, agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I
And it was a fair
really like
assessment.
what he's about. My one worry with Inzaghi is, when you look at someone like Klopp when he went into Liverpool, how big of a character he was.
Yeah, fair.
I wonder if when the chips are down, because it's Man United, the chips are always down at some point. Does he have enough of a will he have enough of a presence in that dressing room, regardless of how good the professionals are? Will he have enough of a presence to pick that dressing room back up? I know he's overcome adversity with Inter before, when his job was on the line, and then suddenly he won a cup, got them to the final, the Champions League, and then they won the league last year.
I'm gonna tell Nathan right now, this is gonna calm your worries right now. Nathan, on Google, just type in Simeone Inzaghi, then type this exact word, Limone. It's called Limone.
Oh, spell it again.
Limone. Now this is absolute mental, by the way. Now that's literally.
They called him Limone Inzaghi. What?
Because he's a guy who is an ultimate professional, but also, if you genuinely annoy him, he will actually properly discipline the situation. Like, he is somebody that you will actually appreciate in the sense of, like, he is a natural leader, but he's also somebody who understands his own stock and he doesn't beat around the bush. They called him Limone because he literally lost the plot of some of these players. And that's a 3-0 win, and he went apeshit for the entire performance. And he done the same at Inter.
But stuff like that could lose the dressing room, especially at a club like United, because you know what they're like.
You lose the job.
Listen, I'm not saying he's wrong to do that.
Got no respect. He lost them when they were actually winning games, right? So he's actually getting angry when they're winning games. But he's getting angry because he's wanting them to actually show more of their personality on the pitch. At that point in time, they were beating Milan. That was a good Milan side. They were beating them 3-0, and Milan were just running around, like, relaxed.
Was this 2021, a year before Milan won the league?
Literally, no, a year before that. Because he won. Because mind, he was the one to finish second to Milan. So yeah, so 2021, 2021 season. That's when Conte won the league with them.
Yeah.
And he's literally following him, and you're thinking energy, whole difference, and he's turned that team around. Like, he's playing arguably the best holding player in a different way in the world in his team, in Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Now, I'm not saying that because, like, Rodri's the best player in the world. I'm saying it because he's completely morphed Chawanoglu,
Have any of you guys watched the movie Moneyball? It kind of reminds me of that, when Brad Pitt's characters look at statistics and go, he's all right there, but if you look at statistics, he'd be better there. It gives that kind of, and I love that because it's looking at players tactically and going, your strengths match there. Let me put you there and let's make it work.
Well, it did kind of work because when you actually, it's not that it did kind of work. It has worked because when you look at the whole dynamic in the team,
it has worked, Reece.
That's what I was saying. When you look at the team dynamic, it's actually allowed other players to grow in the best way possible. And if you didn't have that, then you're going nowhere. I think that's his strength, is he recognises things very quickly, and he's willing to make the changes and the effort for long-term success, but also the immediate improvement short-term. When I look at United, what are United lacking right now? Quite obvious. United are lacking 3 fundamentals. They're lacking basic defensive structure. They're lacking a complete style of play that actually is visible on the pitch, and they're lacking team cohesion in the system. So basic defensive structural principles are quite easy. Get in there, tell the team, by the way, you can't defend for shit. This is how I want you to defend. This is how I want you to set up your position as a neutral sentiment before we even look at the defensive transition, pushing and attacking third. The set style of play. So under Ten Hag, it's pretty simple. Win cups, try to look good, then the league will just hope for the best. That's United's playing style. Absolutely
one man in
abysmal.
midfield in defensive transition.
Exactly. And then the fundamental style of play is United are going to have effective transitions and turnovers, but they're going to dominate the possession and they're going to play the ball effectively from short or forward. When you look at Inzaghi, he has a plethora of multiple styles of management, but he actually is what Ten Hag has failed to do at United. He has failed to be both adaptable and reactive in the way that I would want. So that might sound across me as hypocritical when I'm saying managers should adapt, but he adapted to I always say
you tweak.
Exactly.
You still have your principles, but tactically you can tweak things. Like
exactly
when he was under pressure, they went a bit more defensive with their approach, didn't they? Especially in Champions League.
Yes. But then they
because
made
his
that
job was on the line, yeah.
Exactly. But then they made it their strength because they became more of an attacking team with the ball, that it allowed players space. Now, the one thing I know for a fact, if he comes in, United are not going to play a 4 at the back. Inzaghi does not play a 4 at the back.
I think we've got the perfect defenders. Our entire back 4 currently, in terms of options, we have, apart from maybe a good left wing back.
I think there's a good left wing back right there. I think there is a good left wing back there already. It's just United have to make the effort and the change and willingness to do it. Before United sign a left wing back, I would put Anthony out there.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Really?
But you actually think about it. The one thing he is particularly terrible at is using his right foot. But he's got... The one thing he's actually shown since he's been at United is he's got an incredible work ethic. He will bomb up and down that pitch for you. He will work hard for you. Now, necessarily, does he get a lot of goals? No. Does he get a lot of assists? No. When you look at Ten Hag isn't encouraging him in any way, in my opinion, to even improve statistically. I think if you have it under a manager who has got a proven track record of improving wing backs, both with control and without the control of the ball, how they are starting positions are higher up as well, he's going to get more opportunities as well to get the ball in, turn behind, and then just bomb it. So I think that works in his favour as well. Now, obviously, I would
not to mention the fact that his Man United future will be on the line, and it will be very much a case of you play where I want you to play, or you can go. Simple as. You want to create United, similar to Conte and Moses at Chelsea.
Oh yeah,
that kind of thing.
That's how it should be, though.
I think as well, what you might see as well is you might see players change their priority. Now, when I mean that, I'm saying one player in particular who is an absolute disgrace for United, and that's Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, he always has the same priority. It's get injured or play for England. It's never play for Man United when you look at it on the field. He never gives 100% for United. That's why anyone that says Mourinho was wrong about him, no, Mourinho was right. And everyone that says, oh, Shaw better Carlos. No, he doesn't prove anything wrong, by the way. Like, he's got nothing. So when you look at it in that way, the first thing I think he would do is he would either look to get him fully prioritised on United, or he would say, that's you in the summer, you're gone. Because United easily could upgrade on Luke Shaw. People think they can't. United can upgrade on Luke Shaw. There's three
They
left
can,
backs in the
yeah.
world, three left wing backs, sorry, especially either or in the world that he would immediately get displaced by. He's not even in the top 5 left backs in the Premier League, let alone the world. Like, Luke Shaw's overrated.
May not
Let's be
even
real.
play Luke Shaw at wing back. He may operate him as a left centre back because
Which
some of
I've
Shaw's
suggested.
best performances have been at left centre back. I
Which
think
I've
the
suggested
defenders
as a
United
rotation.
have,
Yes. I
bar
would
a
play him
wing
as a
back
rotation.
like DeMarco, I
Mhm.
think you would revel in this 3-1-4-2 system Inzaghi plays.
I think United's best back three, regardless, though. United's best three at the back, unless they look at any other additions to the squad, it's Euro, De Ligt, Martinez.
Facts.
But behind that, theoretically, you can take out if you want to rest players. So if you want to rest Martinez and De Ligt, or you want to rest Martinez and Euro, then you play Maguire and Shaw until you move them both on.
They would be good. They would be good
Yeah.
in this system.
And another player who hasn't particularly shown himself at United, but he could potentially come good. Although I'm not particularly for it. I think he needs to go in the summer as well. Is Tyrell Malacia? I don't think Tyrell Malacia will ever prove his worth. I don't think he'll ever stay fit. But if he was to thrive in that left wing back position or left midfield, depending on how Inzaghi wanted to use him, if Inzaghi got the Man United job, then I actually would be excited by it. I think he is the best. I think he is the best choice out of 3 names in particular. There's 3 names I would only consider with him, but I think he is the best man for the job.
Do you think Lazio into Man United, do you think that's the perfect stepping stone in terms of equal distance, or do you think he might need like something else just in between Inter and United before he? Because we both know how big Man United is as a club, and even some of the best managers come in and they go, "This is something
I think
else."
if you can,
But then again, Inter's a pretty big club as well.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying
That's
Inter's
what
not a
people
big
look
club. I think what's impressive about Inter and what Inzaghi's done there, by the way, I must point this out, on a budget, he's got them winning.
Yeah.
And he's rebuilt. That team has been rebuilt whilst he's been there on a budget.
Another thing as well is they're not exactly on a budget anymore because now they've got new owners.
Until now, though, that's what I mean. Until now, it's been very restricted spending. It's been we'll sell a player and then we'll get a couple of frees in or some cheap signings. Like,
but the good thing about them is
Pavard for 20 million in total.
Exactly. But he's also capable as well. That the one thing that Inzaghi does have, and this is really effective, he has good working relations with those above him because he actually sets out to have good working relations, and he has good working relations with the players he brings in. I mean, look at he's the one that got the best out of Alexis Sanchez in most recent years as well. When you look at it. He managed to convince Marcus Thuram not to go to AC Milan because he said Milan are going to play you as a striker on your own, but me personally, I don't think you're good enough to lead the line on your own. He told Marcus Thuram that to his face. He told Marcus Thuram, I don't think you're good enough to be a sole striker. However, I have an excellent striker here and a good follow-up option in between that will play just like you. I have got Lautaro Martinez. I've got Joaquin Carrera here temporarily. I have got, at the moment, Marko Arnautovic.
I've got good players who can play off you, pretty much.
Exactly. I have got
in my system. I'll get your strengths out.
Exactly, and that's what he does. Like he doesn't mix his words. He doesn't lie to a player's face unless he has to. But if you look at how he's actually come across to his players, he tells them what they need to hear, and he also shows it by his commitment to them in training. And he's a very young manager as well. When you look, obviously, on this list, I'm pretty sure the youngest. I'm pretty sure the youngest man on this list is Gary O'Neill, Nagelsmann, and I think McKenna. But in terms of age as well, Inzaghi's only 48 years old. And he's already got 8 years worth of managerial experience. Plus Lazio's under 21 team. So he's managed Lazio Primavera. He's managed Lazio for 5 years. And he's managed Inter for, I think this is his 4th season at Inter Milan now. His 4th season.
It's his 4th season.
And he's won 9 trophies. with the same style that he continues to evolve. When he first went to Lazio, I remember very well. I watched his first ever game. His first game at Lazio, he played a 3-5-1-1 with Immobile up top, and he went, I quite like this system, but it needs to continue to evolve in. So he goes to Inter Milan, and he's told, we want you to play the same 3-5-2 that you played at Lazio. And he went, okay, cool. Then he gets to his first game, and he changed it to a 3-1-4-2. And they're like, why? And he's like, because I've got Hakan Çalhanoğlu here. And they're like, yeah, he's playing as a 10 for us. And he's like, yeah, well, he's now going to play as my holding player, and you're going to see something totally different. They lost the league. But that's because AC Milan had a fantastic run to the end of the season where they were hard to beat defensively, but they were still picking up really important wins. But then the following season, Inter Milan just go and absolutely crucify Serie A in Europe because of him. Like, they had the best defense, they had the best attack in Europe. They scored 83 goals in the league campaign. Like, incredible numbers. And they were only beaten twice at Serie A in their league winning campaign. Twice at home. That's important. And when they do lose, it's kind of like when you beat that Juventus team that was steamrolling the league for all those years. It was like, it's not like, oh, you've beaten them, you're going to do it again. It's, okay, you've beaten them. When's the next time they're actually going to lose a game? Because they have that kind of presence. They have that kind of quality to them. So that's the key. That's what Inzaghi does to these teams. He evolves them, but he improves them in the best way possible. He is, so Julio by rights to steal him 100%, but he is by far for me the number one choice out of my top 5. He is number 1. Dave in Europe.
Interesting. I'm gonna chuck someone straight into Wokem. Mr. Good Evening himself, Unai Emery.
Yeah.
As much as he did disappoint a little bit under Arsenal, but you could say there was a lot of ownership problems at the time. You had the toxicity off the pitch, the transition between obviously Wenger and moving forward with what the Arsenal fans wanted, and just the squad in general that he inherited, which was absolutely shocking. He tried to do what he could with it, but the way he evolved it and got it ready with the foundations for Arteta, excellent job there. Obviously doing incredible at Aston Villa at the moment. Just signed a new 5-year contract. And unlike Mr. Howe, who is also in the list as well, both men getting their teams into the Champions League, playing championship football within the last 10 years, even Villa more recently within the last 6 years. That's impressive. But unlike what Eddie Howe's done, Mr. Emery has actually transitioned them from just your sort of top 10 Premier League team into a serial European qualifier. And he is going to be fighting consistently in those Champions League places with the quality. Well, even though the board have been absolutely phenomenal for him, the quality that he's got now compared to last season is insane. The start to the season that they've had is fantastic. Well, they 3rd or 4th already this season, pulling out some great wins, great performances. For that reason, there's no better job that Unai can go to at the moment, and he is not going to Man United.
Yep, I have to agree on that. I would honestly agree. Who will I go next? It's my turn. So many of these are actually generally some of my favourite managers, but I also want to be realistic by what is and won't happen. I'm going to put 2 in the same place because just an absolute no for me. Actually, 3. Gareth Southgate, Gary Neville, and Michael Carrick. Appoint the Glazers instead.
Michael Carrick, where is he? Michael Carrick and also Gary Neville.
Yep. The reason why I've got all 3 is because these are all just disasters. Michael Carrick is failing now in Middlesbrough. I feel sorry for him, but he is failing. He won't turn that around. Gary Neville, he's already failed at Valencia. Says it all. And Gareth Southgate is just an absolute failure regardless. So
Gareth Southgate's shocking.
I'm not even going to entertain either of those 3. Actually, stick in De Zerbi as well, just for what he's done at Marseille. Stick him in for that as well. I think so,
yeah. De Zerbi for me was going straight in. I was borderline going to say won't come, but
the minute he signed Greenwood, he's on a point in Glazers instead of regardless. Like that, he's already sealed his own fate for me.
Absolutely. Even just leaving Brighton after what he did there as well to go to Marseille, like
He shouldn't
considering-
technically shouldn't be in a job without getting compensation paid to Brighton as well because he was going on sabbatical. You've got to serve a period.
Yeah,
He didn't. He went straight into the job. So
that's disgraceful.
he scammed them. So I feel sorry for them. Gareth Southgate, I don't know why he's linked to the United job. Like he should not be linked to this job just because he managed England. Like I'm sorry, but that's just wrong.
Completely agree. And not only that, with managing England as well. Like, let's be fair with Southgate. What did he achieve as England manager apart from getting them to finals? I know he was their best manager since 1966, but with the squad he had, embarrassing.
Fuck's sake, Doug.
Absolutely embarrassing.
Doug, feel free to come join us, by the way. We'd love to get some of your shouts on some of these mentions, by the way. Like, feel free.
Good evening, sir.
I've just taken notes for you because I can't stand them, but yeah. Now for a more serious choice, and now we can progress on to Julio. Now it's between which one? Yeah. I am going to go for like probably my personal favourite manager on this list. I'm going to go straight to Nagelsmann.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would put him as a... For me personally, he is the top tier choice, right? He is similar to Inzaghi. He's in the top criteria. The only problem is he's the Germany manager until 2026. United can't afford to have a short-term interim period where they have a manager and they just go for him. So as much as I would put him in get now, I think getting him out of the Germany job may be difficult, so I would put Nagelsmann in good choice. But his football and what he's done with younger talent and experienced talent at several clubs already has justified why he should merit the United job in general. And he's really good tactically. He's very good at reacting to other teams on the field.
And he's had a good track record as well.
Exactly.
Considering his age.
Exactly. And he has multiple systems to his locker as well.
Yeah.
For any given style or any given opposition. I would have put him in the top tier, but just because he's in the Germany job, it's harder to get a manager out of international jobs than it is club jobs. That's why I've got him in that job. That choice, good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Julio.
I'm going to put Conte in won't come. I mean, just because it's very much a case of you guys know how much I love Antonio Conte, and I think he's one of those managers, as ballistic as it probably goes by the end of it. If Ineos was serious, look, there's two ways you can look at it. You either look at a manager who they deem a project manager, so something of an Arteta maybe, in that you get someone in, you're going to give him a few years, some money, and then see where he's at the third year, which is the realistic point, and it's what it should always be. I think if you're going to rebuild something, like after 2 full years, if you're not in a position to challenge, then questions will be asked. Mm-hmm. With Conte, and I know he's just taken the Napoli job. The only reason I would potentially consider him is because he was ready to walk away at one point in August. Do you know what I mean? And he'd only been there like 5 minutes. So, I mean, I think that was based on recruitment, based on transfers. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
It was.
But then you get more so the Man City approach than the Chelsea approach. In the sense of, if you get someone in who has won leagues and won cups in different places, comes in, he'll only be there 2 or 3 years, but what you get at the end of that 2 or 3 years is you've got a league, you might have a cup, maybe you haven't started challenging in Europe properly yet, but I mean, City have the same with Mancini. By the end of Mancini's point, there was an FA Cup, there was a couple of semi-finals, there was
a league title that was won
convincingly. League title, obviously, yeah.
Well, convincing in the sense of they required goal difference, but still convincing that they played
really not just that, but
football.
The league changed hands multiple times that year. United were top till about October, then City were top till about February, March time, and then United were top till April, and then anyway, just the point is that what you get at the end of that 3 years with Conte is similar to what he had with Juve: cups, leagues, a team that wins and knows how to win. Obviously, you're not challenging Europe, but it's pretty much set up as foundations for the next guy. And then you bring in Reece's best friend, Allegri, and then he continues that for the best part of 4 or 5 years. So you can see my thinking why I think, and also if Conte comes in, he operates the 3-1-4-2 in his own way, and it's, you know, like we have a lot of players that do fit that style, and also some of these players need to kick up the ass. And if there's one guy I know who will take them to military boot camp in pre-season, it's going to be him.
It is why I've said that
he's going to be the way to feed out the weak.
He is certainly one of the managers on this list that would absolutely not take any of their bullshit.
I love him, but I just don't think it will happen. I don't think Ineos will consider that kind of approach. I think they'll go for someone who can maybe last a bit more long term, whether it's a young manager and give him time, so to speak, or like someone who can come in, will be challenging for the league inside 2-3 years and can last the distance.
I think Ineos will prove at some point that they'll be hypocrites.
Yeah.
Because Ineos have said that they don't want a manager that doesn't play free-flowing football, right? So if that's the case, then why would you be linked to Gareth Southgate when none of his England teams played free-flowing football? You know what I mean? Like, you can't be hypocrites. Like, if you want free-flowing football, then Southgate should not be on this list. David Moyes shouldn't be on this list, for example. Martinez, 100% no. Like, Eddie Howe.
I disagree slightly with Martinez, because Martinez's body of work overall would suggest such thing. But I do agree. Like, we watched the Euros, that wasn't what we saw in the Euros.
Exactly.
I think that was more Portugal just controlling Portugal, to be fair, over Martinez controlling Portugal.
Do you know what the crazy thing is? I loved the fact that there was a lot more maverick football, shall we say, from the lesser nations. Whereas the bigger nations were all too safe. Well, on the most part. Not all of them. Germany were very good, for instance. But the others, and Spain were quite good as well. But what I'm saying is like France, England. Portugal,
Safe.
Too
Very
safe. It was almost like, let's see if we can shit out a 1-0 win here. That's literally what it looked like. Whereas you got Ukraine, Romania, even Albania, all giving it a go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Scotland should have done more of that, but they had Fraud Clark at the helm, so that wasn't happening. But yeah, I put Conte in, won't come, because I just don't see that happening.
Yep. It's you, Nathan.
It's me. Ooh. Now, do I go, let's machine gun and this would be a really good appointment, or let's go for the comedy?
Yes.
Who would be You know what? Let's get the elephant out of the room. Genuinely appoint the Glazers instead. First spell, completely warned everyone not to get him, considering the way he ruined my club. I know a lot of it was based on upstairs, but just the complete mismanagement and just lack of man management, disorganization. The list goes on and on and on. Comes in, has a great start, batters us 5-1. Everyone looked united and insane. As time went on, got the contract, just completely fell apart. Dressing room took over. The ego problem that has been ever present at Manchester United massively took over. It just fell apart. Completely lost the identity. His style of playing tactics just didn't get implemented. He was signing sort of who he wanted, but it just never really worked. There was no direction.
I disagree slightly with he signed who he wanted. I think he was more so given, especially in that last summer.
50-50, to be honest.
Most of them he got what he wanted. Some
I
of
think
them
in the
maybe
first full year, yeah, but after 20, especially with 2020 onwards, I don't think that was the case. I think because Sancho was a player the club had been following since he left City.
That's
Woodward
true. But
was
then
gonna-
again, he
Woodward
would.
was going to push that. Now, obviously, Sancho was
Solskjaer
putting
didn't
up
want him.
numbers, and Solskjaer wouldn't have said no to that because there's scouts involved as well. He's not going to say no to a player with that kind of talent, that kind of output.
But then again, the warning signs were there a little bit with his behaviour and attitude at Dortmund. And
Yeah,
then
but
again, on the
I
other
think
hand
that's
of
on the
it,
scouts. I think you put
it
that
could
down to
be.
the scouting.
It could be down to the scouting as well. But then again, even though he's putting up all these great numbers at Dortmund, what did Solskjaer do to not replicate that?
Well, Solskjaer got the best out of Paul Pogba, someone who was literally referred to as a virus and didn't turn up every game. Pogba's played his best football under Solskjaer, arguably in two different roles.
But then again, could that be redemption from what
Are you
Mourinho
basing
did
that
to
on
him?
United or just in general?
In what aspect?
You said Pogba, so just asking, do you
No,
mean
no,
United
no,
in general?
just the United. I will say, though, that in Euro 2021, Pogba was on a different level to what I'd seen beforehand, but I don't know if that was anything to do with what he's currently being charged with at the moment. But he looked
I think that's
unplayable at
massively
that
to do
tournament.
with what's his name in the French job.
Yeah, but
Deschamps.
definitely, I'm not
Deschamps,
saying that
yeah.
that was on Ollie, but I am saying that off the back of what was a good end to the season for him until the last 5 games, Pogba off that left-hand side was just almost unplayable a lot of that time. So I do agree with some. I personally put no, just no. I don't think it's as bad as you're making out to be, but I'm not sitting here saying we need to get him back. There was a lot of good stuff that happened. You're not an idiot if you're turning up to the Etihad multiple times and beating Pep with McFred and Dan James.
To be fair, I refuse to even credit any of that because that is now the equivalent of when did beating Man City become a fucking trophy?
Yeah.
That's literally what these online clowns have done.
I'm not going that far. I'm talking
Then again,
about
it's
it's
like
true.
the same.
game.
But it's
It's
true.
It's like the same scenario, isn't it? If you don't want to win trophies and you want to be recognised as, oh, I'm beating our rivals every 5 seconds, then go play badminton. Like
Good
the
lad.
But I don't think that's the case. That was never the
We
case
beat
with
our
Ole.
rivals. We need a million
Edsel,
trophies and are
because-
going to be obsessed with them. If they
No,
want to do
that's not- I
that,
don't think
they
that's
should
Like,
go and join
Ole
Swansea.
Gunnar Solskjaer is a good human being, right? But he's also extremely delusional.
Yes.
When he came out saying like his whole thing about trophies build egos, yeah, that's true. But it's not always a negative ego. It can be a positive, a hunger to win. Every opportunity we got to.
His point about that, Reece, was the fact that literally it's
he
been
made
proved
no-
with Ten Hag. It's literally, he was saying it doesn't show 100% what our progress is. Klopp lost 3 finals before he did anything noteworthy at Liverpool, and even that was against lower opposition in the Champions League.
Yeah, but then
Do you know what I
again,
mean?
at least he got to
The
those finals,
points-
though.
The point
Yeah,
still stands
Ollie had
over-
City in half of his semi-finals. Granted, the players just didn't have it to turn up in. The players didn't turn up in some of those games. I remember that Chelsea FA Cup semi-final. That was poor. I'm not saying Ollie was perfect, but I'm saying he's not given. I think he's given way more shit than necessary.
He doesn't deserve
Um,
any credit, though, in my opinion. Like
He never
made
took
it
the credit for the City wins.
He pretty
He-
much did.
He
Like,
never
maybe.
did. He said, "It's not me. It's my players."
he literally in the greatest bit of fraudulence ever. This is the problem I've got with him. And this will always be the same. You will never prove me wrong on this. He literally made it an enjoyment that beating City was a trophy. When it wasn't. Like, yeah, we beat City. Great. But how the fuck can you not do it against Liverpool? Why do you not do it against Arsenal when we really need it? Why not against Chelsea when we really need it? Every time we got to a City game, it was always, yay, we're going to win. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you'd done that en route to win a trophy, it would mean something. He lost the City games where it really mattered, and those were the semi-finals.
True.
Like,
I don't disagree with that. I mean, City was a very tough opponent, and I think in those semi-finals they went on to win the trophy.
they won each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
And City,
semi-final that
I
he
think-
lost to them, they won a trophy.
Yeah, I think the thing on City, I think the fans, made more of a thing about that because obviously you turn up to City and we're currently the second best team in Manchester, squad wise. Let's be honest, we were the first defeat came in the toughest week arguably of his career, and he beats Mourinho Spurs at home, who were on a new manager bounce, and then you went away to the Etihad with a severely out of form Lingard, Dan James, McFred in the midfield, and he won, and they should have won by more if Rashford put away his chances. I don't think that's on. I don't think he sat there saying this is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't think he said that at all. I think
But
it was
he did create
obviously
that culture, though. Like, he's also to blame for the friend culture as well. Like, this is another thing that's unfortunate with Ollie. He's the one that started calling them Rashy and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've got no issue with like managers being pals with their staff, right, and whomever. That's normal. If you need to have some form of working relationship. But you kind of come into a fucking football game or a league season and you go, Rashi's going to do this for us. And I'm like, who the fuck is Rashi? Like, this is why I hate those idiots. It's why I hate him for that side of him, as he was calling them by these names. Oh, Lingy, Chungy. What's next? Chungy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for fuck's sake, like, they're football players. They're professionals. Call them by their fucking names, you dork. This is literally what he did. He created that culture, and the worst thing about it is they're the ones that still stabbed him in the back. You know?
Yeah.
They still down tools, but he was like,
well, that's been the problem for a long time. I'm not saying these are the same players that
Rashi
did
was a
it
good
to
player
Ten
for me.
Hag, but
Rashi was a good player for me. Tony was a good player for me. Who's Tony, mate? You know? Like actually, this is why he will. Another thing as well, and this is why he absolutely lost his job. He wasn't a man, and that might sound harsh, but what I mean is, there comes a time and a place where if you are in charge of Man United, actually do the one thing you've got the balls to do, take the reins and actually say, Sir Alex Ferguson, this is not your parking space anymore. It's mine. Like, I'm the manager. Like, he kept doing that. And I'm like, are you really trying to impress someone else for your job, or are you really trying to do the job? You know what I mean? He wasn't giving me the vibe that he wanted to do this job well. He was just doing it to impress his former boss. And I'm like, mate, this is your job now. Your expectations are your own. You set your own expectations, your own standards, what you want. And that's the problem. He kept saying, it's the boss's parking space. So you're not the boss then. Like, he was pussying out.
it's a sign of respect, Reece, to his former coach. I don't think it's as deep as you're making out to be. I mean,
It is,
effectively,
though.
what you're saying is you didn't like him because he wasn't serious.
It isn't serious, though.
But that's just. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I wouldn't I don't think Louis did that. I don't think Jose did that. And I know Jose would invite him to training sessions and into the dressing room and that.
That's because Jose also never drove to Old Trafford. He never drove. But when you look at it in general, I'm not saying don't disrespect Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, he was like, I didn't want this space out of respect to the boss, right? By all means.
Sat in his seat at Old Trafford, though.
But he doesn't need. He doesn't need to come out and say shit like that. Like, that's the problem. Like, when you're saying shit like that,
But what context does he say stuff like that? Is he asked in the media?
He just brought it up.
Because there's a good chance that I don't remember the press conference, but there's a good chance.
He was never asked. He was never asked in an interview. He just never brought up. He just said, whilst I'm here, the one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to disrespect the club, and I'm not going to take Sir Alex Ferguson's parking space. The minute Sir Alex Ferguson took the job, he took Ron Atkinson's space. Like, he just took it. Like, there comes a time when who cares? It's just a parking space. But he brought it up for no random reason. And I'm like, why? He also sacrificed himself anyway when he had a perfectly good 4-3-3 setup, and he changed his whole setup when he restricted his style of play anyway. He was already compromised the minute he changed his system.
He did compromise. He did
Absolutely.
compromise. He compromised to get results. I will agree. He shouldn't have compromised. I think the key thing was the fact that
He was
he
already
wanted
getting
the players.
good results and good style of play. The system he brought, like the system he had originally.
Hmm.
That's the sad thing.
Yeah, but I
But
think
he shouldn't come back.
like one big thing. I think I'm not saying he should come back. To be honest, I'm not, because as much as I like Ollie, I think it was more to do with. I think what helped him was having good coaches around him.
Except Mike Phelan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think my feelings role was more of like would almost be like a role, a link between the players and the manager in some way. I don't know much about it. Do you know what I mean? It's
Well,
almost
to be
like
fair, we all saw what Darren Fletcher's role was. It was whatever the fuck he wanted. He really
Yeah, I
interfered
just-
as well when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't like the disrespect Ollie gets about all sorts of different things. I think it is fair that he should have won a trophy, especially that Europa League final. There was
He bottled that by taking off Pogba for Dan James. when he should have
No, that's
taken
not
off
where it
Rashford.
went wrong. Where it went wrong was
Yeah,
the
well-
lineup.
The lineup was already wrong, but if you're taking off Pogba, who was actually our best player in the final, for Dan James, you're asking for trouble. Especially when you're already
No,
inching towards a
I would
penalty
disagree
shootout.
with that.
It is.
I disagree with that.
If you're taking off,
I
off a
disagree.
player,
No, I
should
don't
have taken off
disagree with the.
Rashford.
I don't disagree with your point about the change, and I don't disagree with your point about Rashford. I just disagree with the notion that Pogba was our best player. Pogba
In
was
that
playing
final, yeah.
deeper. No, he wasn't. No, McTominay showed a lot more character in that game, and Cavani was our best holding midfielder at one point.
I can show Marsh's character, but that doesn't make me the best player on the pitch. Like,
No,
Pogba
no, but what
was
I'm
our
saying
best
is
player in
Pogba
that
didn't
final.
do anything. But there was a lot of flash and no end product from Pogba that game. It was not the Pogba we'd seen in the lead up to that game. I think Ollie's mistake was obviously not playing Pogba further forward, as he had done in the run-in.
And keeping Rashford on the whole fucking game when Rashford was doing nothing.
Yes. Yep.
Like, he was the ultimate disgrace that day.
This was
that-
a severely out of form, back carrying injury player for his best part of 2 or 3 months. And he tried to shoehorn all his best players in there. If Pogba had played off the left, we would have won that game, because our front four, shall we say, of Pogba, Bruno, Greenwood, and Cavani were in literally the form of their lives in the run into that.
Well, if
The
we're being
players also
respectful,
bottled the last 5 games of the season as well.
if we're being respectful, United are likely to win. The problem is it's Spanish opposition,
And it's Emery at the helm.
and also
So it was never
Spanish
going to
teams-
be an easier. It was never going to be an easy game.
And Spanish teams don't lose finals. Weirdly and annoyingly
True.
enough, they haven't lost one in ages. It's a joke now. But that's the element we're in. I agree he gets a lot of unnecessary hate for other reasons. I don't like him for certain things he did during the job, which really, one, compromised himself and showed weakness when there was no need. And I feel like that's something that a manager shouldn't do.
I do agree with that. There needs to be an element of seriousness, especially at this club, because we saw that what players have done for managers who have literally given their arm around players, only to have been stabbed in the back by said players.
Exactly.
I just don't like the notion that his comments get taken out of context sometimes. And the thing is, a lot of people will like lambast the United board and the players, like when Jose was there, and going, Jose couldn't change the culture because a lot of those players stuck around and they were stinking the place out.
Yeah.
But when it's Ollie with the same players, playing week in, week out, or most of the time, it was never, these are the same players that sacked Jose.
Yep.
These are the same players that were doing bits for Jose in that second season, finishing second in the league, and then looking absolutely washed and stinking their place out the year after. It was never that, and I really didn't like that because it
depends on the fan, because obviously I was on here for literally the entirety of Ollie's reign.
Yeah, I don't know
with
what
the
you guys
podcast.
were like during that time.
We were here for the entirety of Ollie's reign, and if you actually
we were ripping into him weekly.
But if you actually ask how I was initially, I was actually very fair towards
You were.
Solskjaer more than anyone on this podcast. Like I was actually trying to find ways to defend him when it was hard to defend him. And he was
Yeah,
getting
because
ripped apart
literally
by
out
Lucy
of
George
all the
every single
panels,
week.
you were the
I was-
only one that was like even trying to find some positives. Like you had me ripping into him every single week, like finding no positives.
Yeah.
You had
Like,
Doug
I
obviously
tried.
staying a bit neutral, and
What set me off and what the minute I was, it doesn't matter how many games he wins, it doesn't matter whatever he does. The day I lost it for Ollie, because I did the full bloody watch along on another channel, is I did the watch along for the Europa League final, and after that my entire mood was get rid of him.
yeah,
Like that was it. Like the Europa League final was the end of it for me. Like I didn't care anymore. I was
I've
like, I
never
don't care.
felt so empty as a United fan. Like I didn't talk
Well,
to anyone for the next day. I was literally alone in my room. A defeat has never
I was just
done that to
angry
me.
with him.
No,
I was angry
never.
at him. I was more angry at
didn't-
him than I was with the players. Like I really
wasn't
was
Ollie out.
angry.
But I was disappointed in a lot of the choices from the lineup to the way the night went, etc. Do you know what I mean? And also the players, a lot of the players didn't turn up that night, which I thought was disgraceful, especially some of the bigger players.
Yeah, that's a disgrace as well, like 100%.
yeah.
But he should have done a whole lot better as well, and he really let us
Yeah.
down. Like that's something that you just can't. It's something that I couldn't excuse. You know.
Do you know what? There is, if Ronaldo didn't come in, I do wonder what would have happened with Ollie.
The annoying thing as well, though, is he still could have achieved something with Ronaldo if he had just done one thing. He had just played Cavani beside him. Just played the front two. It would have worked. But he was so reluctant and he didn't. And I'm like, mate, you brought in yourself.
Do you know what? I'm surprised we never saw Pogba off the left and Ronaldo up front together. That never happened.
I think he would have been a whole better team if we had Fernandes, excuse that. Fernandes, Cavani, Pogba, Ronaldo as a front four. And to an extent, in that way, a front four, like in the means, it would have worked.
Surprised Randy didn't try that a lot more, to be honest.
He tried, but then Ronaldo undermined him and just annoyingly insulted him, which I will never forget.
I'm pretty sure
before
Ronaldo
anyway.
did say to Rannick that he's better in a 2.
Mm.
And you know, briefly the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-1-2, whatever Ollie did,
Mm-hmm.
that did
was right
seem
there.
to look okay. But then the Liverpool game was pretty much just everyone knew. When the Liverpool game happened, it was it's happening. He's going.
Yeah, it's over, and that's the key. And Ollie was compromised, and he did it on himself. Now I get it, Ronaldo in hindsight didn't work, but when he came back, it would have been he had the right means to play a system that would have worked. So we've seen Ronaldo play as a lone striker before. We've seen him play in multiple systems where you just give him the main threat of just build around him successfully. Instead, we just let it blow out in the worst way. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, no wonder he was begging for an Enrique. He was begging for Conte. He was begging for those two during the summer when Ole got sacked. Like, he begged for those two. Two of them were obviously, and then he did say I wanted Allegri. He said a few of these. I think the only one he didn't say was, I don't think he said anything about Zidane. But that's because he knew Zidane was it's Madrid or bust for him, or eventually France or Juventus. So it's always that, who are you going to get, how are you going to get it?
Do you know what? If we got Zidane straight after Ollie, I don't think that would have been the worst appointment in the world. With the players that we had, and with what we've been.
To a degree, similar. It's the same. You can have the same argument for Carlo Ancelotti at any time,
Especially Ancelotti.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, he isn't on this list because we know that it'll never happen. Like, and annoyingly, it will never happen. But he actually fits what Ineos want as well. If they're claimed about free-flowing football, his teams play everything that you would want a free-flowing side, and is disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many other good managers. And speaking of that, whose turn is it?
I believe it's yours.
I think it's yours, Reece.
Someday I'm going to put in the appoint now option because Julio stole one from me, so I'm going to go to the next one. He is. Actually, it's two of them. I'm taking these both. I don't care. Mr. Allegri and Mr. Enrique, both a point now.
Right, there's Allegri.
Quite simply put, yes, his second spell at Juventus hasn't particularly worked out. He did win the Coppa Italia and then he got unfairly dismissed. But he still won 6 Serie A titles. He's won 5 Super Coppas, 3 Coppas, a lot. He's been to 2 Champions League finals. He's got a fantastic goal scoring record that we've shown already. And he's managed 2 of the biggest clubs in Italian football successfully. He reinvented those clubs after difficult periods, and one during an amazing period. He redefined it and evolved it. And also, he's an experienced head. United need an experienced head, to be fair.
Yeah.
A mixture of style, but also can win ugly or can win very effectively. And Luis Enrique, well, the man just completely evolved Barcelona better than Pep did. And people are going to say, oh, but it's Pep Guardiola. And I'm like, well, tough shit. Like, I prefer Enrique all day, every day over Pep, because at least his teams were exciting, but also they gave you an element of humility on the field, whereas Pep's it was more robotic and all about control, whereas Enrique you could have a little bit of personality, and I feel like you need a bit of personality at the top level as well, besides good football structure and a good style of play and obviously winning. His teams had that. That's why I would take Enrique, so that's who I've got in there.
Interesting. Julio, you're up.
Right. Okay.
I want to make a point about Reece's choices, but
Of course.
I like them both. I don't see either happening. So for me personally, I would have put them in. I would have put both in good choice.
Fair.
The one issue I've got with Allegri is he only won one thing since he went back to Juve.
Yeah, just for the record, by the way, Bournemouth beat Southampton 3-1.
Oh no, who'd have seen that one coming?
Bearing in mind, Bournemouth were 3-0 up at half time. Well, within like the first, 20, 30 minutes. So the fact that they only kept it at 3-0, well, like Southampton concede, that's poor from Bournemouth.
I think we can safely say that Iraola was watching Milan ball versus Lecce at the weekend.
Yeah.
Which we're still going to have that fraud watch.
Oh, you need to.
Yeah. So as much as, especially with Enrique as well, I just don't see that happening. I think if you were going to hire Enrique, it should have been done. I think when Oli left.
Yeah.
So instead of Ten Haag.
I think it does work though if he follows Ten Hag though. It still works.
I think I think it does work. Yeah, I think a lot of managers here would work with what Ten Hag has in terms of a squad and in terms of profile.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good players in there.
Most of them don't need the money to improve the squad. Funnily enough, most of these managers don't even need the money to improve the squad. They just go in and prove I'm a much better coach than him.
I think you put Inzaghi in there. I think you give him DeMarco and Gyökeres as your only 2 summer signings.
Oh no, I give him free
this.
signings. No, I give him free signings. I'd still give him Çalhanoğlu. DeMarco, Gyökeres, and Çalhanoğlu, and then that's it. Title-winning team.
Fair enough.
But yeah, for my choices, let's have a look.
There is one manager on this list that is actually exciting, but I just don't know. Like,
right,
I just don't.
I'm gonna pick 3 names. I'm gonna put Zidane in a point now.
Yeah, sensible.
Yep, he is a free agent after all, but also a very successful manager.
I think Zidane is very successful, and I know everyone talks about 3 Champions Leagues with a literal all-star team. Yeah, okay. The second time when he came back, it was nowhere near as good. When you look, there was still quality there, but it almost looked like a washed Real Madrid by comparison.
Oh yeah.
Tactically, he had to make sure they were better, and what he can do is he can handle the big egos. I think, he had front row seats to Ancelotti's La Decima. Put it that way.
Also, as
front row
well,
seats to Ancelotti whilst Ancelotti was there the first time.
another thing as well that's absolutely crucial. You would have to be absolutely stupid to either not listen or disrespect someone like Zinedine Zidane in world football.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you'd have to be. Like, imagine being managed by Zinedine Zidane and then you just decide to be an absolute dickhead to him. He would absolutely stick the nut in you. I would actually pay to watch that. I would love to watch Zinedine Zidane headbutt Marcus Rashford if he didn't listen to him.
No, I think Zidane gets the best out of Rashford personally.
No one gets the best out of Rashford. He's finished.
He is. He's similar but worse to Wayne Rooney. Peaks way too early.
I tried to give Marcus Rashford a way out. I tried to give him a way out by saying play as a striker, but he chose to stick to a position that he sucks in, left wing, and he's not chopped. He just continues to fail to chop up trees. He's finished.
Anyway, my other name's in there. I'm gonna put Poch in.
That's not his name. What's his real name?
Brodicino.
Correct.
I'm going to put Poch in won't come because even though he would if he was a free agent, and I do like Poch to an extent, but I don't think he does any better than what Ollie did personally. But I just think that he's just taken the US job. I don't think he's just going to leave that after 5 minutes.
And considering that he's got the next World Cup as a home tournament, technically, and also B, that USA strong squad is going to be so strong in a few years.
And he continues to be overlooked for the Man United job, which says it all. But maybe he's not actually a good manager after all.
Because at the end of the day, prime position was for him to come in right after Ollie, and he was constantly linked then as well. So the fact that they didn't go for him and they went for Rangnick on the interim, leading
even
like
after Jose, Jose, they could have.
He was the prime candidate after Jose, and then Ollie
they were going to
talked
poach
his
him
way
from
into the job pretty much. And then December, when Ollie of that same year, when Ollie was under pressure, ESPN were running a whole campaign for a month just talking about the same thing, that Ollie's not up for it, get Poch in. And then when Ollie was sacked, it was pretty much pay 10 mil for Poch now or wait it out and see what happens in the summer for either Poch or Ten Haag. So yeah, I did kind of say I did prefer Ten Haag because at the time he was doing really well with Ajax as well in the Champions League. But I was thinking if you pay 10 mil release clause for Poch now, you get that manager now, so you're not writing off the season, and he's getting started right away.
Exactly. But United being United.
And then my last pick is I'm gonna put Tuchel, but I'm only gonna put him in a good choice.
That's fair.
I like Thomas Tuchel, but my issue with him is he'll be here for 2 or 3 years. I don't think he'll win a league. He'll win a few cups and then he'll fall out with everyone, and then the football will go stale. And he's not someone who can pick the team up when it goes down. When it goes stale, it never seems to recover under Tuchel. Saw it at Bayern, saw it at Chelsea, even at PSG we saw it.
Massively at PSG.
As good as it was with PSG, the board just were like, no, we're not having this. I think when he left, they were first, and then just about, and then Poch came in, and at the end of the season they were second. But put it this way, the complaints now that you've won cups but no style of play, you're not doing well, etc. What's being said about Ten Hag now? Similar comments will be made to Tuchel in 2 or 3 years. So I like Tuchel, and when it's new manager bounce, when it's cooking, when it's good, like that end of the season with Chelsea, that half season he had, and then the start of the year after, especially the start of the year after, where they looked solid, they looked really good. It's the one thing that really makes me want to put it in a point now. But
There's
think
that
I
like
can really
element of risk there, isn't it? Massively.
Yeah, I just put it in good choice because on the one hand, as good as that looked, and I remember how I felt, and even he was considered when Ranić was interim, the Chelsea sale was going on. I think if a proper offer was made, I think Tuchel would have said yes if Ranić was still going upstairs. And I think it would have been the perfect combo of Ranić running the gaff upstairs and then Tuchel working with him. But I think I just put it in good choice for now.
Fair.
Shut up, Reece. I've just read what you've put in the group chat.
You shouldn't be texting it, should you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So
you're
in
talking
that
about
case,
you're talking about a quality show. You just can't help yourself.
Listen, it was a good reference. I made a very good reference.
I saw you spent several messages actually. So I will write you. I'm a man of law. I am the lawyer that won't defend you. I'm the one that will prosecute you, biatch.
Nathan, hurry up and get your choices. Cut him off quick.
let's come off very quick. So I'm going to go quick fire on some of my opinions. So let's get a couple of won't comes and bottom tiers in there. So Postecoglou, he's not leaving Tottenham. Let's be fair to it as well.
I
You
wouldn't
could
be
say
so
it's an
sure.
attractive job.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be so sure. I think he can be tempted. It's not looking good at Spurs right now.
He is a tempted man, but at the end of the day, the way that he has built that squad and the improvements that you can already see from last year, I think he's going to stay put for now. It's not going to be like what he did at Celtic.
It's gone a little bit stale there, Nathan. They've not won a lot of games. I think they had a poor record end of last season and beginning of this. And as good as Ange is, I just think the whole poor culture at Spurs, I think, is pissing him off a bit too much, to be honest. I think
it might be a little bit, but I think you can see that there's that transition there a little bit, and in particular with some of the games as well, like where he's redeemed Brennan Johnson, etc., and so the way he's transitioned that team, I can't see him going anywhere. For me,
to be fair, I think it's quite funny how people will dismiss the Bundesliga for a style of playing, all the high line goals and shit, but yet they'll praise Postecoglou. Like it's actual low key hypocrisy.
That's mad.
Where you absolutely slander the Bundesliga for it, but yet you'll praise Postecoglou when he plays the exact same way.
I do like Postecoglou a lot. I don't think it's exactly won't come as you make out, Nathan. I think if United made a good offer and reassurances of some kind, I think I actually would put Ange in good choice.
The funny thing is, though, is when you actually look at difference of playing style, I absolutely despise the club in question. But if you actually look at it, his successor, who was also his predecessor, is actually outperforming him at the club that they've now went and done. Like Brendan Rodgers' Celtic team right now is actually outperforming Postecoglou's, and that's because they actually look more balanced as a team. You put him in this Tottenham job, and I think Tottenham would actually be better under Brendan Rodgers. And I don't particularly rate Brendan Rodgers.
I'm surprised they never went in for him in the first place, to be honest. One thing I will say about Ange, though, like his first summer, Celtic were rebuilt.
Yeah, that's true. So
still went away with it.
I'm going to give you the final choice on it, Reece, with Postecoglou. Is he going in good choice, or are we keeping him in won't come?
I think he's a won't come in general. I don't know if he does speak well and he does have a good conversation around him. I think the problem is I feel like he wouldn't. I think he's another one where he would literally not be able to translate his ideas, and the entertainment of when he says, "I will always win it in my second season." But one, it's not going to happen this season anyway, so you've already lost that argument.
Yeah.
And two, I don't think he would. Yeah, he's handled the pressure of Celtic, that's fine, but I think he would struggle with the pressure at Old Trafford. I don't think he's got the. I don't think he actually would have the level of respect to manage it. And it's not saying because he's a bad manager, he's not respected enough. I just think it's a whole different level of respect. Yeah, I think on merit you would certainly see United playing that aggressive, pressing, high line style. But I think the problem is as well. I think it would be too much attacking where even United fans would go, we still need a little element of balance here. Like, it's all good having a great attacking style of play, but we need to have a really good balance. We don't have that under the manager anyway we currently have. We don't have a balance. You find a balance, you're fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna
Problem is Ten Hag's an absolute clown.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chuck some more in and around. So, Mr. Potter, I'm gonna go He's not appoint the Glazers instead level. He's actually got some tactical nous there, but
he's
considering he's boring. B, look at the way it did end at Chelsea. Even though I do feel sorry for him, the trigger was pulled too quick. Look at all the problems upstairs, and Todd Bowley's proved that he can't work with anyone. But that man is very quick at jumping ship between jobs.
Yeah.
Look at when, for example, he went from, I think it was Ostersund straight to Swansea, then from Swansea after a season to Brighton. Then as soon as he got that offer from Chelsea, he was gone.
It's too big of a jump.
He's not loyal.
He likes to. He's the least loyal manager that we've seen in the Premier League for the last 5 years.
I would be surprised if he's married. In terms of loyalty, there's no way he is a loyal in any shape or form. When you look at him, like that man gets around. So I honestly don't. I don't trust him. I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I could probably throw him a distance.
Funny.
Probably throw a reality check at him, but that might be too strong because I think even his brain would reject an attitude adjustment and a reality check.
No, it'd have to be something a lot more hipster and bland.
Yeah, and I don't like hipster managers either.
No, that style of play would be honking.
Loudrop is fun though. Loudrop has personality.
Right, okay then.
Graham Potter has...
Yeah, here comes the Swansea loving again.
It's not really Swansea love. I like Michael Loudrop as a football player. To be fair, his manager, I don't like these one season, but to be fair, his Copenhagen stuff was good. No, Brøndby. What he did at Brøndby was actually really fun. They played real football. Whereas Graham Potter doesn't play real football, he plays magic tricks and he can't even do them properly. Enough said.
I think in that case as well, I'm going to chuck another one into Wotcombe, and that's based off of the performance tonight as well and what he's building at Bournemouth. Could be prized away, but I can't see Iraola at the moment.
I think it'd be hard to tempt him. I think it would be very hard to tempt him. Yeah. It'd be an interesting shout though, but no. Yeah, I think it's just the wise put to say it.
And then there's my couple there.
Yeah, carry on.
Reece, you're next.
He's a good choice, but we aren't going to appoint him. Hansi Flick. That for me screams United in the way like the best means of United, like attacking, pressing football, but controls games, dominates teams.
The thing is, Hansi Flick could be so fun to watch in the Premier League.
The chance creation for United would be through the roof as well.
And
it'd be a balanced system. You just need to tweak the system. United already played the 4-2-3-1.
I used Hansi Flick as an example in the weekly armchair review last night. In the comments, I said one of the examples. I think with the discussion was obviously Ten Hag style of play, 3 years, 650 million. Where is it all? I used the example of Motta and Flick going. They've been there 5 minutes. They've had their own issues in terms of investment. Whereas you were in the sense of either Juve have rebuilt their midfield or Flick is at Barcelona, which is a hellhole, and they've already got their methods across and they're already playing that way. Like Flick has got Barcelona scoring goals for fun, similar to what they were doing at Bayern. It's almost like Flick's gone in and gone, right, we're the biggest club in the league. Well, let's play like it. Let's blow all the teams out of the water. Can you imagine if he did that, try to do that at United?
Oh my god,
exactly. Yeah. There's that element there of he knows how good he is. He has complete faith in himself, and he knows exactly the team he wants to build. And if you don't want to be part of it, then you're out. Like, he was willing to even though it was obviously him and Gundogan doesn't get along, but he was willing to sacrifice Gundogan just to get in Danny Olmo. Obviously, Danny Olmo's unfortunately injured, but he knows the type of team he wants to build. He knows the players who fit the system, and next year it'll be even better when he gets Nico Williams. Which is annoying because I was hoping United would get him, but it won't happen. But when you look at it, he's somebody who understands his method of play. Like, he's not a conventional high-pressing German style. He's a more, I would say his style is more aggressive than Klopp's, but it also has the importance of the possession similar to Jupp Heynckes. Like, he has the blend of both in one team, and it's sort of like Euro 2012 Germany, but more aggressive and much more fitter, working hard players. In that way, it's similar to that, and he's proven it. United missed a trick not going for him either when he was available. I don't know why United didn't consider him. He doesn't need to worry about language barrier. He speaks He speaks really good English. He translates his ideas really well. He knows how to coach players effectively. So why wouldn't you give him a chance? I don't know. Brilliant manager. He's on. He will always be in my top 5 for who United. I've always wanted to manage United. He's in my top 5. He'll remain in my top 5. And a lot of people have written him off because of the Germany job. I'm like, the Germany job, like, yeah, he was making a lot of stupid mistakes I kept pointing out. They wouldn't have kept having it if he just kept the same system. He kept tweaking his system when he didn't have to. Just play players in their proper positions the way you want to play football, and you'll blow teams away. That's what he did. He kept making unnecessary tweaks that he didn't need to do. That's what cost him his job.
It's a shame. I really would have liked Hansi Flick at United, personally.
Yeah.
It would have been really good.
Right. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
Right. I want you to get Roger Schmidt and Simeone and put them into won't come. I don't think Schmidt is on the list. And
Not anymore.
It would take a lot to convince Simeone to leave. I don't think they'd offer him the job anyway.
Simeone's only
they'd even look at him.
Simeone's only going one place regardless. I've said it so many times that even though I would take Simeone in a heartbeat, there's only one club he's going to after Atletico. And that's Inter.
Yeah.
Which makes it perfect for Inzaghi leaving, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think Simeone has any more to prove at Atletico.
No.
Unless he
On top of that as well, even look at the squad he's got at the moment that he's built. That's there to cause damage.
I actually think he went for the wrong striker in the summer. In terms of
really?
Alvarez. That's not to say
Alvarez
Alvarez
was
is a
right.
bad player.
I think Alvarez was right. They just don't have another name beside him.
I think they should have gotten Darwin Núñez instead. I think Darwin Núñez fits Simeone better. In terms of player manager together, I think a maverick like Núñez would have fit better than Alvarez.
The reason I disagree is because Alvarez has won everything already at football level. He's already completed football. But also, when you look at his first Atletico Madrid team that reached his first Champions League final team he had.
Yeah,
he had a number 9 plus he had a player that can link in with him. He had Villa and he had Villa and Costa. In a way, you've already got Griezmann in there, but he's coming down. But you've got Alvarez who knows how to win, but he's also a great link up. Plus, you've already got a main 9 there anyway. So already he has the tools. I think all you need now is just a better 9. And he needs to play. I personally think he needs to stop with the experiment of Marcus Llorente as a right wing back or right midfielder. I prefer him in the centre midfield. I think theoretically he changes that, he stops that, and he puts Carrera out on the right hand side. He uses his pace and his finishing ability instead, and he gets another 9, and he would win the Champions League with the Atletico team. That's all that's holding them back.
Yeah. Nathan, it's you next, mate.
Ooh. Gonna go one that's quite bold here. He might be prized away with a job, but sticking Eddie Howe won't come.
Nah. There's a report that's come out this evening that Ashworth and Howe weren't the best of friends at Newcastle anyway, so I just don't see how that happens.
They didn't like over recruitment differences.
Yeah, and that's probably why Ashworth went as well, because that's the thing. They mostly communicated with the owner. If you watch through that documentary,
I actually haven't watched all of that yet. Jesus,
it's a good watch, to be fair.
Is it
But
actually?
It's very good, and that's another reason why you look at it as well. With the way I know, obviously, like Amanda Stavely, and the other what's his name, Medrad, I think it is.
The other geese.
Literally, I forgot his name again. They're not, I believe. Don't think they're
She
there
now wants
anymore.
to invest in She now wants to invest into Tottenham as well.
Yeah. So obviously, there's a lot less structure back behind the scenes, but Eddie Howe is in a much better position at Newcastle at the moment with what he's rebuilding than at Manchester United. He's going nowhere.
Yeah,
And then I think on the complete opposite end of the scale as well, Gary O'Neill appoint the Glazers instead.
I don't even know why he's linked to this job.
Bizarre.
I don't get it.
Good manager, but lower.
He's
He's a firefighter manager.
He is a firefighter manager for lower end clubs.
Yeah.
He's not. I think his only links were as like a coach in the coaching staff, similar to René Hacker going in and Ruud van Nistelrooy to an extent.
Absolutely.
Not in a managerial role.
Should I put one more in there as well?
You can if you like.
You know what? Is he bad enough to go into appointing the Glazers instead?
No. It's not that bad.
Or the line just gets into no, just no. Good job at Brentford, but he is a head coach. He's not a manager. Look at the recruitment strategy behind him.
They might actually go for that, annoyingly.
They could.
I do like Thomas Frank for what he's done at Brentford, but I just think Brentford, Man United is too big of a jump for the kind of players.
On top of that as well with him, I do think he's had a lot more support than other managers would.
Yeah,
I
mean, there's a fear that he's being exposed too much now at Brentford.
Yeah.
I'd be amazed. I mean, Brentford are, especially now that Brentford have sold Ivan Toney. I know they're scoring goals every minute of every first minute of every game at the moment, but Wissam and Burma can only get you so far. It's not going to work every year. It worked at the end of not last season, the one before, when Toney was suspended. It didn't do as much wonders for them last season by comparison. It's doing all right for them so far this season, but I know they invested heavily in a striker, and then he was out injured. He's now out injured for a good lengthy period of time. But yeah, I just don't think. I think if Thomas Frank went to, let's say, Spurs, it goes sour with Ange, and then they sack him. I think if you're going to get a top 6 job, your easy access is pretty much Spurs at this point. They're the lowest point, and it makes the jump to a bigger job far smaller than from Brentford to that.
Yeah.
Nathan, you going to put another one in, or
I've got a few more ideas, but let's give it to Reece. See what he thinks.
Thiago Motta 100% won't come because he's just joined Juventus. Like he's literally got, like, in terms of like high level dream job equivalent, he's got that. Getting him at Juventus will be very hard, and also he's just turned himself into a much more excitable and enjoyable manager. So I think that's a no. Pioli is just a no, just no, in that sense. Like, like just constant whiff-waff mistake in the last couple of seasons at Milan. Yeah. Blanc would be, I'm going to say now,
Another
Blanc's a
ball
good shot.
fraud in Pioli.
Well, Pioli actually won a league title the hard way, unlike Ten Hag. So Pioli actually done something more interesting. And put Blanc in good choice.
Wow.
Blanc's actually proved it at several clubs, especially in a hard
It's been a
environment.
good while, though. It's been a good while.
Long time.
I still think it's a good choice purely because he, unlike, just similar in a way, funnily enough, to some people are on this list, the likes of Carrick and Solskjaer. Laurent Blanc also knows the club as well. He knows the expectations. He knows what he would be expected of. But also, when you look at what he's done at PSG, especially PSG, he won back-to-back quadruples, which is impressive stuff. But he's also managed Bordeaux. He was the manager that ended the legendary Lyon run. So he knows how to disrupt title-winning juggernaut sides. He knows how to do that. And also, he's got that experience and that level and credibility. He doesn't have like Zidane credibility, but he also has the credibility of that plethora of experience at the top level. And he's played club and country in that way. He knows what expectation is expected of him. He's also managed his home country as well. So he's been there, done it all. The only thing is, though, that holds him back is just that he hasn't managed for quite a while. But in terms of that ilk,
well, of that kind of size, he was sacked at the beginning of last season by Lyon, having joined this summer.
Lyon were really they are just
I know Lyon
all over the place.
He's now at Al Ittihad with Benzema and Kante and Fabinho, I believe, is there as well.
And no wonder they're back in the France squad because they're just much more relaxed, play comfortable.
I really liked what he did at PSG. I mean, if we were doing this tier list in 2016, around February time, when it was being
he's
rumored
arguably
that
top
Louis was going to go, I would have put him at a point now after Louis. Even when Jose left, I thought interim manager Blanc till the end of the season.
Even like Ancelotti, to be fair, at that point is not at that point as well. Ancelotti's not technically in a job.
And Ancelotti was my number one choice because Woodward had made it clear he wanted a Galacticos Man United, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But you should have got the manager who could literally make anything work and just gets on with it. Like he would have made a midfield of Pogba, Rooney, and Schweinsteiger look so good.
Yeah, I still think he would have sold Rooney, to be fair.
I'm talking about the first season because Jose had Rooney for a year.
Yeah, I suppose. It would have been interesting. I still think United have lost so many chances with Ancelotti, it's ridiculous.
Too many,
He would walk in and still make this club a title winner. But I don't know why United will never try for him. Even if he leaves Real Madrid in the summer, even for like a season or two, just tempt him. That's the only time I would beg Alex Ferguson to personally interfere. I would beg for him to personally interfere if it's for Inzaghi or Ancelotti.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
if he was available,
interim, and then Ancelotti becomes available in the summer, I would go all in for him because I think he'd be the perfect manager to build a team under because he's getting 100% out of everyone.
Not just that. Another thing as well that he does, and he does it
Apart
really
from
well.
Win, obviously.
Yeah. The one thing he does really well is he recognises who's actually suitable for the team, and he also recognises who's actually contributing more than what they're expecting. Now, he does give players the ability and the freedom to play football, but he also has a tactical nous himself. If you're not pulling up trees the way he expects you to do, he will get rid of you. And one thing Ancelotti does have, he has an incredible match presence. Like when you go to a game, he stands out for the right reasons, but he also commands that level of respect that 100% you would want to play for him. If you don't want to play for someone like Ancelotti in club football, you don't deserve to be in football.
Interesting.
Is it me now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say put Hasenhüttl and Rangnick in won't come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rangnick's time at the club has already come and gone, even as a director.
And they
And
disrespected him.
No,
The
massively.
the only time Hasenhüttl would have got the United job is if Rangnick was upstairs and he was going,
Yeah.
right, we're going to rebuild this team for 2 or 3 years. We're going to do the Red Bull model. We need you to implement the beginning of that style for 2 or 3 years. And then once this team looks settled and ready to challenge for top 4 or look further, even more so than top 4, Tuchel or Nagelsmann would have been the next ones in. So their time has been and gone.
Yep.
Even then, with Rangnick, you could actually say that his time at the club was literally a massive success because he just exposed everything from top to bottom. He said it was open
He
heart
exposed
surgery.
behind the scenes. Yeah, I think the issue is the football on the pitch was terrible.
It was terrible,
very
but at the end of the day, looking into the long term of it, that's what needed to happen. Because
Well, I think
would have Ineos happened without it?
No, but the thing is, I think we all kind of knew that as fans. He was just saying what we all knew as fans. I think the good thing was there was finally a spokesperson at the club doing it. I think his reign, as I've used the analogy very much. It's like imagine you are the players in that dressing room. Your favorite teacher's just been sacked, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on? What's happening? And then you walk into your classroom, and it's the cover teacher who's going, we're going to be in the computer room for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You just know there's no work being done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this was very much that under Rangnick. Oh, you have to put Jesse Marsh in Appoint the Glazers instead.
Oh, 100%.
I wanted him personally. No, I wanted him personally.
Sorry.
Because I absolutely hate Jesse Marsh.
It's a shame because you actually look like him. Just put glasses and take the hair gel out of his hair and Red Bull model and all.
Jesse Marsh is the biggest disgrace to the Red Bull model that ever existed. I actually wish death upon him. He's an absolute disgrace to football management. And even worse, he's actually managed to convince the Canadians that he's good for them. Canadians are I've always loved Canadians until they took him as their manager. Absolute idiocy. Fucking can't manage for shit. He's crap.
I mean, look at the job he did at Leeds. Like, how can you regress a team that much?
Well, he was the wrong appointment in the first place.
Oh, it was shocking.
You sack Bielsa and you bring... This is very much the ownership going, we want to kind of replicate the Red Bull model. Let's get Jesse Marsh in. That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
The worst part of it is him.
I don't know why they didn't get Hasenhüttl in.
Because he has a brain and he knows that Leeds are scum.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I don't think they even approached him. Southampton approached Hasenhüttl. Not Hasenhüttl. I mean Jesse Marsh when he was out of work.
Yeah, I know. Stupid.
Very stupid.
Yeah, Jesse Marsh was just terrible.
Literally everyone said at the start as well, that's going to be a shocking appointment.
I said it before everybody else on Premier League shows with you guys, and I had people saying, why are you saying this? And I was like, because he was absolute wank at Leipzig.
Oh, he was.
Horrific. Like I said, he nearly ruined Nkunku. Like, that was my first reaction to when he got the sack by Leipzig. It was literally, he is going to ruin him. Like, absolutely no chance. I begged for his sacking after the first game.
Don't blame you.
Right,
I'm going to put
you, mate.
My turn. Right. So I'm going to put another one.
I was going to say, is it? Ah, yeah, it's your... No, it's not.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm going to put someone in won't come. I have a feeling that you guys might disagree with a pull there, but...
We will be there.
You will be there indeed. Kieran McKenna.
I don't
with
want
the
him
way
anyway.
that... There's your example. as well.
He isn't
so
good enough to be. He isn't good enough to be Man United
he'd
manager.
be going in no, just no, either way. But at the end of the day, what he's built at Ipswich, first of all, as much as it's attractive for him to be prized away, with the start that they've had as well, I think he's going to at least be there for the rest of the season. After that, he goes straight into no, just no, when he keeps Ipswich up. But he has done a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, but that's his level. He won't be United level.
Yeah.
Like, to be... I always stand by it, and this is like where people come across as like the whole elitist thing, but it's a fact. To be Man United manager, you should be an elite manager, not a bang average manager.
Yeah.
Like, people
And
seem
that
to
means
forget
get
that.
experience as well.
Exactly. So I'm just going to be flat about like he is actually somebody I would put in a point now. The problem is I don't know if United would actually consider this. But he isn't employed either. Sergio Coikenchau is another a point now option. Like, considering the fact there's one thing he would do as well, and I would love this. He would bin Onana. He would bin Onana at all his costs. He would try to get Costa in goal.
Yeah.
The problem is, I just don't know if he's waiting for a particular job or if United won't look at it. But what he did at Porto is actually genuinely impressive. It deserves the shout. And most of these players are Portuguese or that type of language speaking. So he doesn't have to worry about getting them on side or fitting in with them. He already knows that. He already knows them from that level. So it kind of fits, and he doesn't have to change much either. He doesn't realistically have to change much. But he's got much more of a pedigree of winning things, and he's... Also, he had to change Porto twice. I mean, when he first started at Porto, they played a 4-4-2. And it was 4-4-2 that was quite rigid and boring. Then he made that 4-4-2 that was exciting. Then he switched to a 4-3-3, and he sort of evolved it. And then, before he left, he went back to the 4-4-2. But it was very, very meticulous with how they play with the ball. So he is a smart option. The same way with Ruben Amorim. He's a good choice, but I don't think he'll ever come to United. He's a won't come for me, Ruben Amorim.
Yeah.
But he is phenomenal.
I can back that as well.
There's still one manager on this list I'm just so unsure of. Because I just do not know.
I have a feeling I know who that is. Nice manager.
No, not Farioli, no. Xavi,
yeah.
I think he's done decent at Barcelona, but to be honest, I don't think he's still someone that United should look at. It doesn't make any sense.
On top of that, with the circumstances at the moment, I think he's a won't come. Yeah. I can't see him going from Barcelona to Manchester United.
I think it's realistically for him, it's just Barcelona to Manchester City. Or he's an upgrade to Arteta. Because Arteta, let's be real, he's regressing as a manager. Like, he's actually regressing. He's going from exciting, decisive winning to very turgid defensive style, whilst angering people on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Like, he is
Reece,
absolutely...
that's a one-off game, man.
No, it's
not.
No,
A one-off game.
No, it's not. Stop your bullshit. It's not.
I'm not with the bullshit.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. They're the worst team in the league for time wasting. They're deliberately cheating on the field. And yet the FA
He only literally does that, and you wank him off all the time. You can't just have one argument for one guy and another for another because someone wears a better suit or has nicer hair.
It's not for the reason. I already know that Simeone's a wanker. You know what I mean? That's who he is. Whereas I've seen Arteta play live, and I've seen him manage, and he's literally one of the nicest human beings, right? All of a sudden, he's now morphed into the Spanish equivalent of Mourinho. Not Mourinho the manager, where he'll never win all those trophies, but Mourinho the manager for the personality that's completely like, what the fuck is this guy now? You know what I mean? This isn't the guy that I absolutely adore, take the mick out of Celtic. You know what I mean? This isn't the guy who was really good to watch at Arsenal, and when he was a player there, and he was humble, and he was just a good leader on the field. he's morphed into someone else that you don't even recognize. And he's not just doing it on the field where they are dominating teams. I'm not taking that away. They dominate teams, but they shouldn't be having all that amount of time wasted on the field. You cannot tell me a team like Arsenal are playing for 10 minutes of time wasting per game.
Yeah.
Like, that is deliberate cheating. And he's actually doing it in a way that people are actually buying into it. The whole David Raya thing against City, he wasn't injured. There was nothing wrong with him. It was purely so Arteta can go, come here. Let's have a conversation, team.
Reece, we see loads of different people do this every year. It's not just I get it. I get it's personal for you with Arteta because it's a player you've watched live and you don't like what you're seeing in someone being different. But if I'm being brutally honest, it's not that big of a deal. We're seeing dark arts. Arguably, this Pep Arteta rivalry, whatever that is better than the Pep Klopp one because they just used to kiss each other's asses all the time. Respect. You play good football.
I will give you that. It's more intense. I will give it that. It's more intense between the two.
I never see City players get so agitated at another team's players so regularly.
I also look at it in a way.
It's good. It's a psychological battle on the field.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna argue that. But what I'm arguing is, you can still do that way without becoming a complete arsehole to everybody that you speak to. Like, just look at how he acts now in the press. Like, look a couple of years ago, even managing a lesser quality team, he was still actually humble about the performance. He was actually, you could get a proper argument. Now, fast forward, you don't even want to listen to this guy anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't the type of person that I actually used to like. I actually viscerally hate him now. Not just hate, visceral. I would love to see him in the street and just punch him. Because that's what he's become. That wasn't Arteta. And even more, like, I absolutely find it hilarious that Gary Neville wanked fest over him.
Oh, yeah.
The beauty of Arsene Wenger's style of football with the solidity of George Graham. What? Gary Neville, 1 week you're a Liverpool fan, the next week you're an Arsenal fan. Make your mind up, mate. Like, Jesus wept. I can't stand that shit either for the pundits as well. Like, that pisses me off even more. I'm not saying Arteta's a bad manager. Like, I'm not. Because I've seen what he can do firsthand. He's actually done well with Arsenal. He's never going to win them the league title, by the way, so the Arsenal fans need to chill. But you can't tell me that this is a guy that you absolutely think is absolute respect. Some of the shit that he does, we criticise Klopp for. All the excuses on the field, he's doing them worse. Like, he's toxic now. Like, he's actually become toxic. And it's not even the Arsenal environment, it's him. Man City, I guarantee, would not touch him now as a manager. I used to say it to Nathan as well, that Arteta, I think, was the prime candidate to replace Pep as manager. There's not a way or a shout he gets a chance now for what he's become. No way. He's become a disgrace. I never thought I would say that about Arteta. Of all the managers that are coming in from like the player equivalent, retired into top, like becoming a manager, he was not even in my consideration. That's how far I've changed on him. That's how far he's swung me. It's duplicitous. Like, he has become a disgrace. And people say the same shit about Mourinho, but they'll praise Arteta for that crap, and I'm like, you can't do that. And I get it, I'm quite hypocritical there because I'm the same as Simeone. Yeah, that's true. But the difference is, though, is I watched Simeone as a player long before he got the Atletico Madrid job. So I knew already. Yeah, he was an absolute dick. So, but Arteta wasn't at any of his clubs. He was never like that. So I don't get all of a sudden why he's now become this absolute cluster cunt. I don't get it. Like, it's actually criminal behavior what he has become. I will admit, I love it that he's a bad winner though, and he's a bad loser. I like that. But there's a difference between being a bad winner and a bad loser and being an absolute proper dickhead to everybody that speaks to you. And the over-celebrating. Jesus Christ, that is horrific.
Oh, massively.
Over-celebrating for games they should be winning anyway.
Julio, you're up, man.
He's still trying to digest all that.
No, I'm just thinking about where to put certain people. You got to put Brendan Rodgers in Appoint the Glazers instead.
Oh, absolutely.
I swear to God, if that happens, Nathan, we just need 1 hour of just that Mick McCarthy clip. When it goes, it couldn't get worse, could it? It can't keep going.
It can.
It can.
To be fair, I've already said that if Gareth Southgate gets the Man United job, as an example, I will not watch the rest of the season. I'm not joking. I will just watch Serie A and other leagues for the rest of the season. I will not watch United if Southgate gets the job.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's how far I would go for the love of my club. I would not watch, because that would be crucially torture for me. That would be unlevel amount of torture, and I'd be more shocked if any of the fucking match scores go to that. Because why on earth would you go to why would you go to Old Trafford to watch Southgate? Which is the epitome of not what this club's about. If you want something to do
Southgate is very anti-Man United. Good football and winning things. He doesn't do any of those.
He isn't about free flow football. He isn't about winning. He's only about coming second. And he's just a yes man.
He is. I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm going to pull it back out, the yes men are reserved for this man.
Vincent Tan, he's the man with a plan. Vincent Tan.
I got it
and
in.
And Grant Hanley.
No.
Wait, what was that? What was that?
No.
Say his name and he appears.
I believe in Grant Hanley.
Jesus Christ.
I can't do it though, to be fair. I can't. It's just funny. But, yeah, man.
Yeah, I want you to also put Jose in Won't Come.
Yep.
I like Jose, but even if he was available,
I disagree.
No, I'm torn. Let me explain.
I don't think he come back after the way it ended.
I think he's just. I think he's just a no, just no. I think it's just a no, just no.
Well, I would have put him there, but I don't think he gets approached anyway. I don't think he gets
Martinez is 100% a point. Roberto Martinez and Wayne Rooney are 100% a point the Glazers instead.
Oh, 100%.
Both of them, yeah, ridiculous. There's one there that I just want to see protected. I don't want to see them get the job. I want them to just continue learning and see if they develop into the job, and that's Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
So I would just put him as a no, just no. Just let him develop, because he's only had one job.
If he's interim, don't make it permanent.
Yeah.
Oh, they will, and then just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's gonna go like that.
And I don't want to see what happened to Ole happen to Ruud, especially Ruud.
Yeah.
Favorite striker ever played for United. It would kill me if it happened to him. Yeah, he would probably play better football under Ruud than Ole and Ten Hag. But the problem is eventually something would go wrong, and then it would all come on him. It'd be sick. I can't go through that.
Another thing we got to do as well, I don't think he's a point the Glazers category considering what he's done. This man, no, just no.
Yeah. I think in a weird way, I think Farioli is either top choice or he's either top tier or second, purely because he's already managed within their system already, that they know him.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a good choice than a point now. The ones that are in a point now are because they
warrant it.
Right. They warrant it in that way. And how the hell could you argue or realistically pick between the five of them? Like, that would be hard. I would still theoretically say my number one choice is Inzaghi, when my exact order, ironically, is that 5 in that exact order.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's not. I was hoping we would only limit it to 5 in the appoint now, but I'm glad we've managed to do that. I disagree with the placement of Conceição in there, but
For me, he is
it could-
already ready-made and he's won trophies already. Like, Tuchel's there as well. Like, ironically, you would probably swap the two of them round.
Even then, those are good choices, still good choices.
Yeah.
But like, just with even with the people above Kuikentrau, it's just.
do you know what? I
If
kind of
actually-
feel like the fact that Pioli is in no just no compared to a lot of won't comes.
I think Unai Emery, ironically, is more of a good choice because you never know.
That's what I was thinking. I
do never-
did think that.
I can't see him leaving Villa though.
I think annoyingly the manager.
I
said
see
at
him
the
leaving
very start of
Birmingham
the
though.
The manager I said
Yeah,
at the
but we
very
won't
start of the
punish.
show. The manager that I said at the very start of the show that I absolutely would have loved to have seen. I'm still standing by it as I won't come in Valverde. But Valverde is by far the most, apart from Hansi Flick, he's probably the most exciting manager in the won't come options for football.
Mhm.
Conte is most exciting for off the field madness. But it's still good on the field behaviour and all, like, in terms of like style of play. But I think realistically, the top 5 is 100% the top 5 for a reason. They are the best shot.
Oh, 100%.
I put Zidane as the second choice personally in that list.
I'm not sure if I would have him ahead of Enrique, even though he's got 3 Champions Leagues to Enrique's 1. I think Enrique's got more league experience.
I put it down to the fact that I don't see an approach for Enrique. And there's the link that the Zidane links tend to come from Jean-Claude Blanc anyway. So because
Which is
there's
a good
that
one.
right,
Yeah.
consider there's the link. That's why I think Zidane's more of a
I think
would go
yeah,
second because it's actually he might be more of a possibility now than before.
hmm I think if United managed to have got Zidane, it would be very interesting. Because another thing as well is Raúl also really likes Zidane as well.
It'd be really intriguing to see what would happen.
Some of that squad as well wouldn't last with him as well. He would absolutely demand assurances of who comes in, but also who actually gets out. The one thing that has to stop as well is I still think there's a level of interference from above on who should play and who
Yeah.
shouldn't. Because if out of form Bruno Fernandes and out of form Marcus Rashford continues to be played, I doubt that's the manager. You know? Like, as much as they are good players, they are massively out of form and they're struggling to get themselves back into good form. And they're not given a chance to be off and get a break. And obviously now Fernandes had that reckless moment where he gets himself sent off.
That was bollocks. Didn't change the game, but
Yeah.
it's
I
still
still
a
feel
bollocks.
there's an element there. I still feel there's an element there of they're saying you have to play these guys because they're on the amount of money they're on, and we're expecting those guys to take our team forward. When it shouldn't just be about those two, it should be about the team. And Fernandes especially is a phenomenal player, but he has that in him where sometimes you really just want to miss him for better reasons. I also look at how this team would look under an Allegri with him as well, where he's done wonders of number 10s. Or even Inzaghi, where he's very clever with a number 10, he converts them into a different position. It gets the best out of them in that way.
I think what Allegri brings as well is formation adaptability as well.
And proactivity as well.
Because one week we'll
So
see
key.
that 3-1-4-2, and then the next week we'll see like a 4-4-2 or a 4-3 of some kind.
Oh,
I think you would
definitely.
still see the 3 at the back. The difference is the 3 at the back with more. It would continue so he doesn't get found out.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'd rather see Allegri at Milan because I feel like I don't feel like United is as much of a circus as it is. I don't feel that that's the best place for him to restore himself. I think if he goes to Milan, almost to his roots a little bit with that, in sense of his pedigree, he goes
the only
there.
annoying thing though is Fonseca's playing a 4-4-2 that seems to work with that front four. That's mad. People used to moan about the 4-4-2, but the 4-4-2 is actually saving his job.
Yeah.
Because it looks good. That's the annoying thing. It looks good. Pisses me off. Like, he should never have got the job anyway.
I mean, if all these managers on this tier list were free agents, then obviously the appoint now list would look a little bit different.
Oh, it would.
Absolutely.
Like, I'd have Conte almost top of that list personally. I know in terms of what Man United are about, in terms of good football, utilising young players, winning, I know he's only one of those things to an extent, maybe the good football part if executed correctly, etc.
To be fair, young players doesn't necessarily just mean academy players that everyone's got an obsession with. It's actually signing young players that are actually top quality that can go into the squad as well, and then you add 1 or 2 youth players. He's already done that as well, so technically he still fits that mold. The problem is people are listening to guys like Gary Neville and all that, brainwashing them, saying these type of guys should not come in again because they're mercenaries. Antonio Conte's not mercenary. If anything,
no, I don't think it's unrealistic to have a manager come in. I use the example about Klopp and Arteta as well, in the sense of, forget their half seasons. They had 2 full years, and then in the 3rd full year, their teams amounted to something. I know Arsenal finished 2nd, which is not something to shout about, but this was a team that finished 8th and 5th the previous 2 years, and suddenly they were 2nd. And then as for Klopp's team, they won the Champions League and finished 2nd by like a millimetre or 2, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that from the next manager.
Yeah. Like my expectation is we get Inzaghi, we get him 3 players that fits his team, he gets a 3-5-2 organisational shape, and I'm demanding a league title. Like, also, that's another thing that doesn't help as well. It seems to feed off players and the manager. Ten Hag's job, initially when I said it, Ten Hag initially made career suicide when he said, I'm not here to play the way that I did at Ajax. I already wrote him off for that, right? And everybody knows that because I said that on stream. I was like, you've already committed career suicide for that. He committed 2nd level career suicide this summer when he said, guys, we're not here to challenge for the league because we're not good enough. It doesn't matter if your players aren't good enough to win the league. Yes, these players aren't theoretically good enough to win it, but you don't tell them that. You tell them that you've already lost the dressing room. Like, you've already taken away like the element of, well, what's the point in us playing for Man United if we're not going to go and challenge for the league? What do you want us to do? Challenge for the top 4? Because that's literally what he is doing. He's literally saying, guys, we're just going to be a top 4 team. And then you get the fans on side for that. The fans that are happy for top 4. Whereas you've got fans like myself who don't want top 4. They want to win. But they also want to win right. There's nothing wrong with winning and playing good football. People seem to assume you have to win, you've got to play ugly. Well, no. Like, you can win and play great football. And it's quite simple for United to do that. They just need to get the manager who knows how to win, but also plays good football. They're in the top 5, specifically. You've got a couple of managers in the won't come section that win playing good football. Good choices are the exact same. Appoint the Glazers, none of them win, none of them playing good football.
Yeah.
No is just suicide, plus Van Nistelrooy. Like, there's an element of that and being smart and just going about in the right way. If you're not in it to win and win the right way, you're out. Like, if you don't play good football at Real Madrid and win trophies, you get sacked. Like, you can win trophies, but if you don't play good football, you get sacked for it. United just have that level of expectation. We're here to win, but also want to play good football to justify we're the best team. Now it's just, we just win because we scraped a win against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Or we were lucky to beat Man City, for example, in the FA Cup. Like, that's not how it should be. You win by being decisive, you're being very good, and you also play the right level of football that justifies you're a good side. We're not that under Ten Hag. I guarantee we would win more convincingly with a manager like Allegri or Enrique, Zidane or Inzaghi. It would actually look like a team that wants to win on all fronts and actually justifies it by playing good football consistently.
Yeah.
And if the whole idea for Ineos is to get a manager that wants to win and play free-flowing football, but then you target Southgate, you need to stop lying to people. Because that's lying. Like that is clear evidence of, no, we're happy to sack the season off. There's no reason to sack the season off. You got a top manager in right now. Like, if you manage to convince Inzaghi to leave Inter now, you put him in the job, and he's like, you've got the rest of the season. You may not get anyone to sign in January, for example, but you've still got a squad that has been spent on. Go. He'll be like, okay, I'll get on with it. And then next summer I'll just add to the squad. Like, an interim basis is just giving up when there's still so much time of the season left. Don't give up. Do not do that. That's a disgrace. That's weak mentality. That's relegation fodder mentality.
Oh, 100% it is. Do you have anything further to add?
No. There isn't much else to add, to be honest. I mean, Ineos, I think in the summer came out with a comment of it will take 2 to 3 years to get the conditions right for the manager. And then I'm seeing people dispute that, saying, oh, fans really thought 2-3 new signings will change everything. No, we're not. But you cannot tell me that he's not been backed now. He has been backed more than anyone. There are literal people with better CVs who didn't get this much backing and produced more. There are people with less on their CV and have arguably produced more in terms of league finishes. Quite frankly, it's almost like Ten Hag is gaslighting the fan base into thinking we can't win anything. Liverpool, do you guys remember how bad Liverpool were when Klopp walked in, or Arsenal when Arteta walked in?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Liverpool specifically.
Liverpool was shocking.
The 1-1
the
draw
boards
against
were learning
Spurs.
on the job with the new manager in place as well. It wasn't perfect before they came in.
I watched his first game against Tottenham, against Pochettino's Spurs that were flying, and they outran. This is a team that had never played high pressing football before, and they outworked Tottenham. It was the first time all season that Tottenham were behind on every single metric that involved running or distance covered or duels won.
Yeah.
Tottenham were absolutely blitzed, and it finished 1-1. Like, there was seriously competitive game. But sorry, United, to be fair, we're sticking with Van Gaal. Bad idea, but I love Van Gaal. But United could have had Klopp there and then as well. Maybe United should have done.
Well, they tried to
Twice
get
over.
him after Moyes was sacked, but Woodward's just an idiot. He went to him and gave him the whole look. We can sign any player you want, any this, and he just basically just threw him all the. We'll buy you whatever you want, any shiny thing you want. And Klopp was a bit like.
He basically
it's like that rich, ugly billionaire who's going to the hot woman with morals and going, listen, I'll buy you whatever you want. Please go out with me. Please go out with me.
He failed to understand that that's not what Klopp's about. Klopp isn't about buying every player he wants. Klopp will build a team that's
Well, this is what I mean. You had
systematic
idiots
to destroy
running
you.
the gaff. You had idiots running the gaff and they didn't know what to do to entice managers.
If they were able to do that, they would have had the right manager for periods of time, and United would have been competing with City with Klopp and with Klopp at the helm.
No, I still think Woodward might have found a way to mess it up. I think Klopp might have walked,
Probably.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Should have got Ancelotti. Ancelotti would have just done everything. There would have been no Lukaku, by the way.
Thank God.
Ancelotti would have just found ways to make everything work. We were still won trophies, finished high in the league. Maybe would have won one league title in 3 or 4 years, maybe. But
Would have won several.
Even with the bare bones that squad had,
Yep.
he still would have made things work. I don't think he would have won many league titles just because of the fact that the board's shown that when Jose and Oli, when Jose finished second with that dross squad,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't back him. They didn't go, right, let's push for a league. They thought, well, you got second with this lot, you should be right for another year with this lot, wouldn't you? So yeah, anyway. Yeah, I've got no parting comments. I really enjoyed this tier list, and I really like some of the candidates on there. Just unfortunately, I don't think any of the 5 appoint nows
happen.
I don't think they happen. I really want 2 of them to happen. Realistically, I just don't think they will.
Yeah. If United got the very first person on that list in the team,
I think we'd be good.
Yeah.
United cook. But I stand by this though. United, I don't think United are good enough to play back 4 anymore.
Needs to evolve.
Something like that. I think it's simply United just need to walk away from what isn't working. But unfortunately, Ten Hag is stuck in his ways. He will not change, and they can't do that. Like, that doesn't help. If you're not willing to change, then it doesn't help
It's
as well.
over for Ten Hag. I don't think there's any comment to be made. It's over. The Liverpool game was similar to Mourinho's Spurs 3-0 when he was at United.
I think it was worse than that. Even like scoreline different, but in a way, I think the reason why Ten Hag losing to Liverpool was worse is because Arne Slot played him in the summer, and he comes into this game, and all you hear from Arne Slot is, I know that Man United are going to play the 4-4-2, but one of them's going to play in that inverted
Jose
false
went
9
drastic
10 role.
with the changes that game. When he was his game, he went to 3 at the back, and I think he had Herrera at right centre back or something ridiculous like that.
So you can the difference is one got desperate, the other came in the same way, and the other manager's like, I know exactly what he's going to do, so we're just going to have the advantage in key areas. We're going to have the man advantage in midfield. We're going to have the man advantage in attack, and they will not overcome us. Like, that is your biggest weakness there being exposed. That a manager that hasn't played you in a while still knows what you're going to do, which is absolutely hilarious. United just got battered by, like, under Mourinho versus Klopp's Liverpool, because that team was primed to go, whereas Mourinho's team had just given up and they weren't pulling their punches in matches. And the distance covered proved that.
Absolutely.
It's beyond return now for Ten Hag. That's the final thing. It's beyond
There's no way
return now.
Yeah, the thing is for me, give it 2 games and he'll be gone.
His gaslighting is horrific though.
Oh,
like, I've never seen someone gaslight anyone so much more than him. Like, he is on par with the Tory government before they got kicked out for gaslighting. But that's how bad he is. Like, I literally compare him to any member of the Tory party that's been a prime minister for the amount of gaslighting he does. He got way. I said it long before. Like, I think it was after the FA Cup final or something. I said it to him, like, about that comment he made about eras come to an end and all that shit, which is still funny.
Klopp left last summer.
Yeah, but Ten Hag had nothing to do with it, which is funny. But what I'll hold to is he was saying all that whilst United are still not performing in the league, and his excuses were, well, I don't have my players fully fit or whatever. Okay, injuries happen, but other teams have had injuries and they still actually continuously produce.
This is his team now. There are no excuses. He's been given an entire new backroom staff of managers as coaches. He has signed enough players now for it to be his team, not to mention 6 of his signings started yesterday. And in 3 years, I don't care how mismanaged the money is, in 3 years, he has now bought enough players and overseen enough departures for it to be his squad. Enough money's been spent, and
There's still
there
no
is
style
still
of play.
no clear style.
Now, one thing I will always say though, I'm grateful for the 2 cup competitions that we've won. I absolutely am. I'm grateful
One
for the fact that
trophy's
we've won.
good.
But we could have done better in the league while still win those trophies, which will always hold back the argument. Like, you can win trophies but still finish way higher in the league and still compete. The minute he said that to these players that they're not good enough to win the league or we're not challenging them for the league, I'm surprised none of those players refused to play for him again. Like,
Yeah,
I would have just went, well, fine, I'll go and play for a club that actually wants to challenge for the league then. Like, I would have just, even though it's United, I would have handed the transfer request. If my manager's telling me that we're not going to go and compete, then I'll say, fine, go and get me a club like Bayern Munich, go and get me a club like, I don't know, a club like Real Madrid or Atletico, clubs that actually say from the start of the season, we're going to challenge to win the league, or our aim is to win the league. Not somebody who goes, all right, lads, we don't know where we're going to finish this season. We might finish top 4, we might finish 5th. But that's something I don't get confidence in.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's the pain that Ten Hag actually causes. Like, I don't know how you can get away with that.
I don't think the squad is as bad as it's making out to be, either.
It's so easy to see if he changed the system. You know what's funny? The last time he had a very good performance against Arsenal, for example, is when when Anthony scored his first goal. But Ten Hag played us in a 3-4-2 system, like three at the back system, funnily enough, for the first half. And then he changed it back to the back 4. And Arsenal got back into the game, funnily enough. Even though we won that game, Arsenal got back into it, they got comfortable. Ten Hag really tries and he pushes my buttons, but he has regressed as a manager and he is actively bringing these players down, even though some of these players don't deserve to be here.
The players know he's going to get sacked. That's the worst part. Is now they're going to be playing football for a manager whose methods they don't believe in, and they know he's going to go soon.
Yeah, 100%.
He's by far his worst enemy, his own worst enemy. It's a shame because when he was at Ajax, I really liked him, and I was glad when he got the job. I was actually happy he got a point because I liked his football, and I was like, United have got a really good manager here. And then he's completely betrayed himself as a manager. The minute he said, I'm not here to play the same way, I'm like, well, can you please leave then?
See, when he said that, I thought it was a case of he didn't have the players to do so, and I understood. But now he's got the players to do what he could have done at Ajax, and he's just not going with that. He wants it to be transitional, he wants it to be based, and the way he's executing it is all wrong.
Yeah, it's horrible shit. And I don't know how many times I've said it, but I've said it so many times where if you're a manager who's recognised for a certain style of play and you've been successful with it and you go into a different job and say, by the way, that's not how I'm going to play, then you shouldn't be considered for the job. And I've always used Pep as the argument for that. If Pep goes into like an appointment for another job, like an interview for another job, and he says, oh, I'm not here to play my way, then I would just say, thank you for the consideration, and we'd like to go and pursue other targets. Because you can't. I'm all for a manager having a little bit of tweaks and stuff to their system, but when they actively say, I am not going to play anything like that, then why are you here?
100%.
Pure treachery. Like Ten Hag is, funnily enough, what people claim the likes of Conte and Tuchel are. They claim that they're terrorists. No, Ten Hag is the terrorist. Like, he is a football terrorist.
100%. But aside from that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up from here. Absolutely smashed it tonight. What a tier list that was.
Yeah, so good. So much fun.
Awesome stuff. And I think happy days apart from that. Another great week of football coming up. What's it called? Millwall at home tomorrow. Then why am I going to Bristol on Sunday? 2 losses in a row, worst ever start. Everyone knows.
Fair bit of chunk of football for me this week. Like little bits, yeah. So much football for me to watch. Plus finishing writing the quiz, still doing some streams and shit. Big game tomorrow. I absolutely will be watching it.
100%.
Like 100% tomorrow. I am definitely watching Leverkusen versus Milan.
Oh, that's gonna be insane.
I'm still shocked that even under Fonseca, Milan are the top scorers in Serie A and they're 3rd in the league.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Like Milan have actually outscored all the other big clubs in the league. Like they've scored 5 more than. This is generally how funny it is, right? This is the Serie A table right now. So Milan are in 3rd, Napoli top, Juventus 2nd, Inter 4th, Torino 5th, right? The only reason Juventus are unbeaten is because they've scraped a couple of draws that they should have lost. But Napoli have scored 11 goals, conceded 4. Juventus have scored 9, conceded none. Inter Milan have scored 13, conceded 7. Torino has scored 10, conceded 8. Milan have scored 14, conceded 7. They're spreading the goals around, but even so, like, it's what? Oh, he's flopped. Yeah, good show.
Yeah, smashed it. Not sure where Julio's gone, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, so, off my guys, if you did enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe to what you can support the channel. I'd be appreciated. Follow us on Spotify as well. Listen back in the car, whatever you do. And aside from that, see you on the next one. Enjoy, lads.
Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.